Hey, everybody. Tonight we're debating whether or not women need a guardian, and we are starting right now with Daniel's opening statement. Thanks so much for being with us. Daniel, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, James. I need to share my screen.
Ready.
Good.
And we are ready in 3, 2, 1. Good.
Okay, just 1 second. All right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. There are two types of animals: solitary animals who can live alone, like tigers, polar bears, raccoons, and social animals who must live together in groups, like penguins, wolves, chimps, and humans. Social animals form groups so they can cooperate to defend themselves, their property, and territory, produce food, reproduce with females, focusing on pregnancy, nursing, and nurturing the young, while males provide food and protection, wage war to conquer rivals, and compete over scarce resources. In general, sharing the benefits of cooperation requires hierarchy with a leader. Not only do social animals instinctively form groups, they also instinctively form dominance hierarchies. Psychologists like Jonathan Haidt note that respect for hierarchy and authority is rooted in human biology. In Islam, the male guardian is known as the wali, and his leadership is called wilaya. A leader or wali always has three roles. He plans how group members should cooperate, assigning roles and activities. He uses power, whether through physical strength, wealth, or allies, to enforce this plan. He ensures the benefits of cooperation are distributed to group members. Common examples of human groupings include nation with a head of state, business, university, military, and hospitals with CEOs, presidents, or generals, and family with a guardian, i.e., the father and husband. None of these groups can function without a wali. For example, the head of state makes plans through laws and policies, then enforces them via police and courts. These laws assign people specific roles. Some serve in the police or military, others work and pay taxes, others run schools, hospitals, and nursing homes funded by those taxes. This system generates benefits for the people: security from invasion, healthcare, education, etc. Without a wali, the state collapses and these benefits vanish. Similar benefits of wilaya exist on a smaller scale in businesses, the military, etc. Another example is the family wali. A family consists at minimum of a married husband, wife, and children. The wali is traditionally the father and husband. He plans for the family and enforces those plans through discipline measures such as withholding financial support. He decides where the family will live, what to spend, and what to save. He takes on the role of protector and provider, while his wife handles tasks like pregnancy, breastfeeding, cooking, and cleaning. By enforcing his plan, the wali produces key benefits. The husband's salary provides housing, food, and healthcare. There is intimacy and romantic companionship for both spouses. Children are well raised, and the vulnerable, the young, sick, and elderly, are cared for. When there is no wali, the family collapses, and all the benefits associated with the family disappear. Feminists accept a society full of walis and agree to submit to them. For example, to the head of state or government. Feminists in business or the military submit to a CEO or a general. In some cases, submission to a wali is voluntary. In others, it's mandatory. For example, in submission to the head of state. However, what feminists object to is a wali of the family, to a father or husband to which a woman must submit. There are two reasons for this. The first is that feminists value gender equality, but in traditional societies, the wali of the family is automatically a man. The second reason is that feminists don't value the benefits of family. They argue these benefits are either worthless or attainable without a family. They claim there's no value in having children or in raising them with good morals and religion. They see no value in a care system for the young, sick, and elderly, as the state can provide all of this. And they say intimacy and companionship can be found through serial dating. So feminism rejects the wali, and without the wali, there is no family. A common theme in liberal and leftist thought is the goal of abolishing the family. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels famously supported this idea, which was later expanded in feminist thought, especially since the 1970s. Instead of a society based on heterosexual families, feminists promote a world of atomized individuals who voluntarily pursue cooperative activities. These individuals embrace free sex, promiscuity, and LGBT. As a result, wherever feminism has spread, marriage and family are disappearing. In the West and Northeast Asia, birth rates have collapsed. Children who are born often lack moral and religious upbringing, becoming antisocial and atheistic. The sick and elderly are neglected, lacking family care. Most men and many women lack stable intimacy and companionship, reflected in declining sexual activity even outside of marriage. In order to rebut the criticism of feminists, we have two tasks. The first is to justify the gender inequality in the institution of male guardianship. The second is to point out the benefits produced by family. I've already discussed the benefits of stable families, so let's focus on justifying the gender inequality. Again, the wali has three roles: planning, using his power to enforce plans, and ensuring benefits are distributed to the whole group. Men are simply superior to women in all these areas. Therefore, they make more effective walis. First, men are better than women at making plans for a household. There are three main reasons why. Being a good planner is a prerequisite for men to even start a family. If a man is not a good planner, he can't get enough money to even attract a wife. By contrast, a woman can get married without any planning ability whatsoever. All she needs is to be young, beautiful, and preferably chaste. Because of biologically rooted hypergamy, women refuse to mate with men who do not have greater wealth and status than them. Gaining this wealth and status requires long-term planning in terms of pursuing education, a job, a home, etc. If he doesn't do all this, he can't even attract a wife. Another reason men are better planners is they're cognitively better at long-term decision-making. Many studies prove this. In 2025, a meta-analysis of 110 independent studies found that men consistently outperformed women in decision-making involving uncertainty and risk. Men were more likely than women to strategically choose options that led to long-term gains. Along those same lines, men are better than women in making decisions in high-stress situations. This is something that the chauvinists know from a lifetime of experience. When you're in a life or death situation, do you want a man or a woman in charge? The answer is obvious. But let's put chauvinism to the side and look at scientific research. A 2007 experimental study found that women react to stress with more fear, irritability, and confusion than men. A 2011 study found women more vulnerable to stress, impairing their memory. Another 2011 study showed that under acute stress, men make better, faster decisions than women. Numerous fMRI studies show that under stress, men have greater activation in the prefrontal cortex, the brain region linked to emotional regulation and cognitive control. Women, by contrast, show more activity in limbic regions associated with emotionality. This neurological difference explains why men under acute stress better control emotions and inhibit impulsive responses to make reasoned decisions. In layman's terms, women are more likely to freak out under pressure. The inferior planning capacities of women is also reflected in basic economic facts about women's financial dependence. The bitter truth is the idea of a truly independent woman is a myth because women always financially depend on men. In traditional societies, women are supported by their guardians. In modern societies, so-called independent women are supported by the state via social services like education, childcare, healthcare, welfare, elder care, gender-based affirmative action, etc. This gives the illusion that modern women are independent in the sense that they don't directly depend on men. But the underlying reality is these state entitlements are funded mainly by tax-paying men. Men pay more in taxes. Women receive more in benefits like Social Security, healthcare, and student aid. Men generally pay more than they get. Women get more than they pay. This is significant because even today's independent single women rely on men through their taxes. In traditional societies, men received obedient, loving wives in return for their support. In modern ones, men get nothing other than a bunch of man-hating feminists. All this shows men are better suited for long-term planning, which is a key trait of the wali. Men are not only superior in planning, they also hold more power. A wali must enforce his plan, and men can do this through physical strength and the ability to withhold resources. Even the best female planner lacks the power to force her husband or children to follow her lead. The irony is this is exactly what women are attracted to, which is why they seek stronger men. If women truly wanted equal partners, why insist on wealthier, more powerful men who can impose their will? Women are attracted to such men precisely because of their greater power. Finally, in the role of wali, men are superior at distributing the benefits of cooperation to group members. Men naturally feel pity for women and children, motivating them to provide essentials like housing, food, and protection. Women are different. They care about themselves and their children, but not their husbands. They don't care if men lack housing or food, which is why they often take everything from their husbands in divorce court when given the chance. Women also don't care about men's physical safety. No woman will sacrifice her life in an armed robbery or give up her seat on a lifeboat to save a man. Psychological studies support this. The feminist lie is that men only care for other men. But this is pure projection. In reality, women naturally care more for other women, but have a negative bias against men. Men, however, also care more for women and have a negative bias against other men. So both genders are biased towards women and against men. This is known as the women are wonderful effect. Because men have favorable views of women and children, they naturally take care of them, both during and after a marriage. But women don't feel the same, especially if the marriage ends. Studies show that men continue to have very positive views of their female exes, while women have far more negative views of their male exes. According to feminists, the fact that men are walis of their household is unjust. The assumption is that men are only made walis, guardians, because of exploitative gender bias. In reality, however, men are made walis because they're objectively more effective in that role. Now, some form of family wali institution exists in every pre-modern society, rudimentary in the hunter-gatherer societies and more developed in agricultural and pastoral ones. They're also present in all major world religions. Although family wali rules vary between societies and religions, there's a lot of overlap. The wali must protect his mother's, daughter, sister, wives. This protection covers not only their immediate well-being, but also their future, including the afterlife. Taking care of a woman's future in this world means ensuring she doesn't squander her most valuable worldly assets: youth, beauty, chastity. With these, she can attract a good husband to support her financially and help raise good children. If she squanders these assets, she must rely on herself, which is risky since women are poor planners and ultimately must depend on others who have limited resources. Basically, they become cat ladies. Moreover, all young women face an enormous temptation these days to squander their assets. They can get huge amounts of money at any time through practices like dating and prostitution. Moreover, it's easy for them to continue doing this until their beauty fades in their 30s and 40s. This is how they squander their youth, beauty, and chastity. This has become such an epidemic today that some estimates claim 10% of young women in America sell themselves on sites like OnlyFans. A wali who cares for a woman's future must ensure that she gets the most out of her most valuable assets. Therefore, the wali must prevent promiscuity and encourage early marriage. And to safeguard her afterlife, he must ensure a good moral upbringing away from sin. After marriage, this responsibility shifts to the husband. The husband protects, provides, and ensures she remains chaste, maintaining her value to him and motivating his continued support. Now, you can agree to all this in theory, but how can it be practically accomplished? The only way is with Islamic rules, like the following. The woman owes obedience to the wali. The wali can discipline her through physical coercion or withholding wealth. She must allow the wali to monitor her sexual behavior to protect her chastity. She must not form relationships with men outside her husband and family. She may not display her beauty to other men by wearing provocative clothing or posting pictures, as this encourages illicit relations. She should wear hijab, meaning she may not communicate with men outside her husband and family unless there is valid reason and the wali monitors it. She may not mix in mixed gender spaces. She must not leave or travel without the wali monitoring her whereabouts. She may not work outside the home without the wali's permission. She may not marry without her father's consent. Islam still upholds these rules. Other religions once did, but feminist liberalism convinced those religions to discard male guardianship for gender egalitarianism. This has been a disaster, not just for women, but also men, children, and all humanity. To conclude, why should women beg for male guardians? Number one, it's in their biologically rooted psychology to want this. It preserves their femininity. It preserves their most valuable assets, youth, beauty, and chastity. It produces all the benefits of stable families, and it prevents you from becoming a cat lady. Not only women, but all of society benefits from male guardians who lead their families, but do so while cherishing their female dependents and treating them with love and kindness. In short, we need chauvinism, but benevolent chauvinism. Finally, insisting on male guardianship doesn't diminish the vital role women play in families. Women are superior to men in their emotional intelligence and nurturing others. The Quran teaches that men and women were created with complementary roles. God says in the Quran, and of God's signs is that he created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them, and he placed between you love and mercy. These are signs for those who reflect. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that opening. We are going to kick it over to Malise for her opening as well. But before we do, just want to let you know, folks, a couple of things. First, both of our guests are linked in the description box. If it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate, I'm your host, Dr. James Coons. We are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics, including the topics that the mainstream media wouldn't touch, like this one tonight. We also want to let you know, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We have many more debates coming up. With that, we're going to kick it over to Malise for her opening statement. Thanks for being with us. Malise, the floor is all yours. You might be on mute. Let me check.
Just give me 1 second, please.
No problem. And want to let you know, folks, also, in terms of upcoming stuff here at Modern Day Debate, got to tell you, we are very excited about a number of different projects that we're working on. But first, looks like, Malise, if you're ready, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, so as I wanted to say, everybody, good evening to a very haram good evening here. So first, the thing we were talking about is guardianship. Now, I was a little confused. Like, are we going to talk about like today guardianship, or we're going according to Islam, or we're talking about guardianship back in the days, right? So I'm going to talk about today because I'm a woman of today. I was born today. So we're going to talk what guardianship is, the term legally means in Canada and Western countries. So guardianship is a legal relationship grounded in legislation that is created by a court between two or more people, a guardian and a person who has been declared incapable of making decisions with respect to their own affairs. It is possible too for there to be more than one guardian, right? So what they're talking about guardian is for somebody that can't make their own decisions. Whereas I think that as a woman, as a grown woman, I think I'm able to make my own decision. So the idea that women need men as their guardians stems from outdated culture norms. This is like from back in the days. I understand like what he was talking about, the hunter-gatherers and all this. You know, back in the days, if you're thinking that women didn't go out there, women didn't participate, and men were always up there, again, that is wrong. Islam and religions came, and then they oppressed women more with their ideologies and, you know, all this stuff that he was talking about. Anyways, patriarchal systems that assumed women were less capable of autonomy. So one thing that I want to say before I even start, I think it's the opposite. It is the women that are the guardians of men. Because we guard, if you're talking about guarding somebody, we guard anything that is in our tummy for 9 months. If we weren't guarding male, female, anybody, you guys wouldn't be there. A man's job is to get you pregnant. And then he's at work. Who's taking care of the pregnant woman at home? She has to take care of herself. She doesn't eat properly, you're dead. She doesn't take care of herself, you're dead. She's stressful. She's stressed. Her hormones mess up, you're dead. So that 9 months, that child, whether it is a male, a female, is attached to my body. So everything that I do affects that. So I am guarding that child inside my body. The men at that time has nothing to do with it, right? Let's move on. So, all right. So let's go to equal capability. So women are just as capable as men. Actually, women are better at making decisions. Women are better at a lot of things. Women are better at pain because men can't, like I see men that they get a flu and they're just like, oh my God, this and this. Go try to have a baby. Push it out of, from where. And then let's see what happens then. Bleed every month for I don't know how many years. And then go through those emotions and then get told every day by a man, why are you so emotional? Why are you so emotional? Not only that, because we're so emotional, apparently we lose half of our brain and half of our memory. But my question to everybody watching this, that us women that are so stupid, that can't make our own decisions, we can't take care of finances, we can't do nothing right. We need a guardian. We need a parent on top of our head all the time telling us what to do, how to guard our everything. Then they put the most important responsibility on our head, which is to take care of the kids. I mean, how are all you kids being raised and you're healthy? And of course, you too, I would be. I mean, like most of the mothers are at home, sitting at home, taking care of the kids. How are these stupid women not like just like so stupid that their kids will fall off the bed or they'll go burn themselves or they'll get hit by a car? We're dumb. How are we taking care of the most important thing, your child? And you give us that responsibility, right, to a stupid person, because we can take care of them, but somebody needs to take care of us. So as we're going to talk about today's women, we're not going to talk about back in the days, but back in the days, even if we go back in the days, it's not that women didn't have money, women weren't controlling things. Khadija, Muhammad, peace be upon him, his first wife had a lot of money, right? This whole Islam was created. If it wasn't for Khadija and her finances, this religion wouldn't even exist today. So it was a woman that was there, that had money, and she had power. Actually, Muhammad worked for him. So the fact that women didn't have authority, women didn't have this, we have seen in the past, women have had authority and women have ruled over and they've had money. So you can't keep saying that they didn't do that. Even back then, women used to go out and work. It wasn't that women always stayed home. Maybe the elites, but the poor women still had to go out and work. So the fact that you're saying that, oh my God, women shouldn't go, like, I don't know where you guys come up with that whole story. But let me tell you for today, why people or men are pissed at women. Because today we actually don't need anybody. Like, we don't really need men, to be honest, right? You were talking about taxes, you were talking about all those things. Women, single women, not divorced women, let me just clear that. Single women in the Western countries now, especially in the US, I believe, own more property than men now. So we are catching up. You have to give us a little bit of break. Like, we just started, right? Like, what, 100, maybe 120 years ago, we just got our rights. You guys have always had that. You have always have had that privilege. Give us some time. We have caught so fast, so quick, that men are so scared they don't know what to do. And that's what it is. They're like, oh, they're saying they don't need us. The whole time that I sat and listened it's like an insecure person that is just like, oh, look at me, how important I am. Look at me, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. And the person that is actually important, that brings them into this world, that person has been neglected for thousands of years. And that person is now, women are getting up and they were like, you know what? This whole marriage, this whole vali, this whole thing was a scam. This was a scam. You get nothing out of it. Make your own money, because if somebody is going to come and spend some money on me, they're going to control every bit of it. People don't even spend their money and they can try to control your whole everything. Nobody should be controlling anyone. I don't need a person to come and tell me how I should be dressing, who I should be dating. I'm an individual. I'm a grown woman. You're calling like cat ladies. You want to control a 30-year-old woman or 40-year-old woman, like who she can talk to, who she can date. Secondly, that one obsession that men have is about I don't even know why you guys are so obsessed. You guys are so obsessed with our bodies and just whatever is between our legs. You are so obsessed to find out how many people have been in there. You're so obsessed that even after death, you are thinking about virgins, right? Meanwhile, a man, there's no need to check like if a man is a virgin or not. Like, there's no comparison up there. I don't understand why you are so obsessed with a woman's body, right? And then you sexualized her. You sexualized her from day one. They've been sold as sex slaves. You men created Pornhub. Men created Playboy. Men created all this stuff. Men started putting women in, I don't know, men's perfume, men's underwear. Why does a woman need to be? You sexualized us. Now that we learned this and we're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this is how it is. Oh, and men will spend money on us. So this is the first time in the history, in the porn and adult history too, that women that are, he was talking about OnlyFans, they're investing their money in real stuff like real estates. They're investing their money. They're not like blowing it up on drugs and this. It's not the porn stars of back in the days, the women that got paid nothing, that got used and abused by men, the production houses. These women on OnlyFans control themselves. They create other jobs and they're putting their money to good use because you sexualize them. Do you understand? There is about 2 million women that are on OnlyFans. Do you know how many men are there? 200 million men that are on OnlyFans. But nobody's going to talk about the men, of course, right? If you want to stop it, stop going on there. Stop buying it. But no. And you know who watches most of these porn and all these things? The Islamic countries. You know why? Because they're so deprived of it. Why? Because they keep their countries in like a cocoon. They keep sex is like, oh my god. If you talked about the animal kingdom, by the way, yeah, in the beginning that you were talking about it, that you said that all the male species went out and hunt. No, it's not always a male species. There's a lot of females that also go out there and hunt. And if you go into the animal kingdom, they go sleep with whoever they want, right? So if you're gonna compare and then pick and choose on that, so no. For me, I believe that in today's age, a woman doesn't need a guardian. Like, I don't think anybody needs to have ownership on anyone, right? If you're in a partnership, that's a partnership. You don't own the other person. This whole thing about guardianship, it starts as a guardianship and then it becomes an ownership. Next thing you know, you're enslaved. And then this whole thing about protectors. Do you understand the most domestic violence, 60% of the cases where women are abused, raped, and murdered are by somebody that they knew? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it is somebody that is related to them, either their brother, their husband, or their father, okay? And in the Asian countries, it's even higher. So the whole thing that, we're the protectors, who is going to protect us from the protector? At the end, I'm just going to say that men at this time need to recognize this, that there is a problem in your species. They do commit more crime. They do attack us. There is a problem, but it's time that you men step up and change, and you need to stand up there and take accountability for it. You know, instead of saying that feminism, we are bad, feminism is bad, and this, and family system is it's just going to get worse otherwise. I'm just letting you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that opening as well. Folks, a couple of quick housekeeping things before we jump into the rebuttal, as we'll have rebuttals tonight, first and second rebuttals. But before we do, I want to give you a quick update about a couple of things. First, folks, we are very excited. If you did not know, our fundraiser on GoFundMe for our new camera lenses is near the goal. In other words, we're almost there. I'm going to put that link in the description box. I'll give you updates on that as the debate occurs. But in the meantime, we're going to jump into the rebuttals. The first one from Daniel. Thank you very much. The floor is all yours, Daniel.
Can I share my screen, please?
Yes.
Can you see?
Ready. Yep. Crystal clear.
Okay, so to respond to my opponent, a lot of her points are just directly countered by my opening statement. Obviously, she didn't know what my opening statement would be, but I'll just respond to the points that she made. So you say grown women can make their own decisions. No, they can't. The fact is that women squander their assets. Their most valuable assets are beauty, chastity, and their youth. And we see women en masse just throwing that away for cheap thrills, for the attention of men. They put themselves on OnlyFans. They engage in serial dating. They will engage in hookups. They're on these apps like Tinder. And so they are squandering their most valuable asset. This is a terrible decision because they're sacrificing their future for immediate pleasure. immediate attention from men. So this is terrible decision making. I also cited the cognitive science that shows that men are actually far better than women in terms of decision making. So that's point number one. She's saying that these are outdated cultural norms, that male guardianship is outdated cultural norms. This is false. It's the basis of male guardianship is biology and objective facts that I went over in my opening statement. So it's not just a cultural bias. It's actually based on objective facts about not only human biology, but also universal human society. That's why we see male guardianship in every single pre-modern society. We see it in every single religion. If it were just something that some people made up, we might expect that some countries or some cultures or some religions, women were the guardians of men. Women were the ones who were in that role, but that's not the case. There's no such example of a religion or major culture or civilization where females are the guardians. She says that women are guardians when they're pregnant because they take care of what's in their womb. Yeah, but who takes care of the pregnant women? Women need to have a man to protect her when she's pregnant, because when she's pregnant, she can't take care of herself to the same extent. So she depends on a man. That doesn't take away from her role. It's a very important role as a mother. And as I said, there is a very critical component to any family, which is the mother and the wife. But the husband has a specific role, which is to be the father, the protector, and the provider, and therefore the authority, the guardian. She says that women are better at making decisions. No source provided. Just trust me, bro. I gave sources for why women are worse, inferior than men at decision making. She says that women give birth so they're better leaders. Like, how does that make sense? Like, how is that? Look at all of the most successful generals in history, all of the most successful world leaders in history. They weren't women. They were men. That should tell us a lot. That speaks to the ability of men to lead. Now, if you told me that, well, which gender is better at raising children, which gender is better at pushing out children and tolerating the pain of that, I'll say, of course, women are better, and that's why we love women. That's why we value them in that specific role. But in terms of leadership and guardianship, no, men are objectively better than women in that regard. She says that my view is that women can't do anything right. That's a straw man. Women have many superior qualities, as I mentioned. She mentioned Khadija, radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first wife. And she said she was an authority. Yes, she was an authority when she was divorced. And even then, her male family members were protecting her and were her and looking over her. And then when she got married, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, became her guardian. So that's actually a counterexample to what she was saying. My opponent was saying. She says that single women don't need anything today. That's false. Women rely on social services. So this illusion of or myth of the independent women, there is no such thing as an independent woman. All the single women rely on social services, and it's men who are paying more in taxes, which benefit women more than men. So there is no such thing as an independent woman. Even Malise or anyone else, for that, any woman is relying on men, even if they don't realize it. I don't need a person to control me. The question that I have for my opponent and any other woman is, would you give up some of your freedom? Would you give up some of it for the benefit of a stable family, for the benefit of a loving, devoted husband, for the benefit of children who will be there and will be raised right so that when they get older, they won't stick you in a nursing home. They'll actually take care of you in your old age, or if you get sick. Isn't that better than the freedom that you have now? And then you have to be a lonely cat lady. I think that women throughout history understood the benefit of giving up some freedom for a larger benefit now and in the future. She says men are obsessed with women's bodies. Men are just trying to prevent women from squandering their most valuable asset. That's why men insist on their daughters, for example, not being promiscuous. Men insist that their daughters or their wives are dressed appropriately, that they're not mixing with men who just want to take advantage of them. The man, your father, your husband, he wants to protect you. Your brother, he wants to protect you. He's not obsessed. This is this is like saying that the police are obsessed with what people do. Police are obsessed with people on the road, and police are obsessed with what happens in the stores. And no, police are there for protection. They were trying to protect the best interests of people within society in the same way male guardians are obsessed or are wanting to protect women so that they don't squander or lose their best, most valuable assets. She says that men sexualized us. So, I mean, I find this ironic. My opponent is a former beauty queen. So did anyone force you to go and compete in a fashion show or in a beauty contest? Did a man tell you to wear makeup for this debate? Did a man force you to do that? So who sexualized you in that way? She says that Muslim men are the most consumers of porn. This is absolutely false. This is not true. The top consumers of pornography are in countries like India, in countries like the United States and Brazil. She says, who are protecting women from the protector? Well, other men. So if your guardian, your male guardian, abuses you or mistreats you and violates laws or norms, there are other men who are going to come and crack down on that abusive man or that unjust man. So this is not a strong point. So that's my response. And this I thought was funny. I wonder if my opponent still has this view. This is Parvez Musharraf, the former leader of Pakistan, and she said that she found him attractive. She found him to be a hunk. And maybe she can comment on that. Why did you find Musharraf to be a hunk? Is it because of his power?
Let's see. We'll go to the next rebuttal. This is from Malise, and want to let you know about. Okay, take the picture of your friend down, Daniel. Let's see. We're going to. I just want to give you a quick couple of updates.
Oh, I love it.
Folks, before we jump into, just one moment, Malise, forgive me. I had mentioned the fundraiser, folks, right before we jumped into Daniel's rebuttal. As you can see at the bottom right of your screen, we are 82% of the way for this camera lens fundraiser. Join the movement. We are bringing debates, in-person debates, back to college campuses and the public in general. Help us buy these lenses as we are trying to put on the best produced debates. And these are, as we've tested them out at DebateCon 5, extremely quality lenses. Join us, as that link for the GoFundMe is at the top of the live chat right now and in the description box. With that, thanks to your patience. Malise, the floor is all yours for your 7-minute rebuttal as well.
So I will start by the President Musharraf questions. Boys, that's why you shouldn't just go on Google and Google about people and just believe everything that's on the internet, right? So yeah, I said it. It was at when I won the Miss Pakistan World, and I didn't even know what Musharraf was doing. But the company that I was with, who ran Miss Pakistan World, she actually created that news. It was sent to one of the news channels or news reporters in Pakistan. And then actually India picked it up and India made it into a huge news. It started with me saying that I liked him. It ended up, oh my God, you want to marry him? So you know how news picks up and stuff. And that's how it got out there. I never even met the guy, but apparently I had an affair with him and whatever. But I was so stupid. I never asked him to sign me up like a couple of properties, like seriously. But so that is but you know what? It got me known all around the world. And here I am today, Malise Sarkari, known. That was how I got famous. All right. So Daniel was saying, first I'm going to start with saying Malise Sarkari is not independent. Why are you guys so angry at independent women? I am independent. I have worked since, honestly speaking, I started working when I was 16. When I left Pakistan, I came here, I got a job and I worked at a Burger King. So I don't know if that Burger King was owned by a man or a woman, but there was a lot of women that worked there, right? I've in my life worked for men and women, but believe me, my bills have been paid by me. Okay. Our father, now, who was a Muslim man, never paid anything in the house. I had a father figure, but he never paid anything. So my mother covered everything. She was working. She was a working woman. And even though he didn't contribute, he controlled her life, right? So the fact that you're saying that women, you know, they can't be independent. I mean, come on, that's just, we are independent. And this whole thing that all these women are depending on social welfare. Not all. You're gonna have to give me stats. I am not on social welfare. Yeah, I get a little bit of child credit, that's it. But I have been providing for my own child myself. So I don't know where you come up with that. Like, I gave you the stats that women are investing more of their money in properties. Women at this time have more properties, single women. Okay, you can go and look up all those stats that I said. He was talking about, you know, women can't make decisions. However, we are asked to make everyday decisions for our kids. You know, he's going to say it's a straw man, but no, it's a very important point. If you're thinking that we can't make leadership decisions, however, back in the days, not many women were given the opportunity to be a leader. However, we do see some women that did become leaders. They were known, right? So you will see some of them and you will hear their names in the history and stuff. Then again, like he was talking about in decision making, I think we can be a little bit emotional, but I think when we are done, when we want to make up our mind and take a decision, we do it. It's just to say that, oh, men are just better at it, men are just better at it. Again, we are taking the most crucial decisions of all the time at home with kids. You guys are out there working. Oh yeah, and then he was saying that pregnant wife, okay, who is taking care of that pregnant wife? So let's even go back in the days. Most of these men that went to war, who was protecting those women? Like, there wasn't that many men anyways, because most of them were dying going to the war. So who was protecting them? Now, who was protecting? Now, if I am pregnant, which I was, I took care of my child. The man had nothing to do with it. Do you understand? You can impregnate somebody and just walk away. I am responsible for that. The other thing, okay, hang on. Oh, he talked about Khadija, that with Khadija, she's the one, okay, if her Bali was the one, the guardian, you know, you were talking about, but she went and tried to get married to Muhammad. Muhammad was also very young, so she made her own decision. It wasn't the Wali that went up there, right? She was the one, she hired him. Actually, Muhammad used to work for him. So she was the boss at that time, and he was working under her. So you see the, yeah, okay. And then the one thing that he said, that if a man is paying for you a little bit and providing you that little bit, why won't you give your freedom? I mean, really? How about I provide for you and you give me your freedom? And let's see how you're gonna like that, right? So it's just the fact that you're asking somebody. It's like, sell me your soul. I'm gonna take care of you, and then you're gonna have to listen to everything that I say. And that's what I'm talking about. When you have these kind of guardians, they can get you, like, they can do anything to you. Yeah, or one other thing he was talking about, that all these women in their younger years, they go out and party and they're on OnlyFans and on this and this. All my 20s, I was really working my butt off. I was doing schooling. Most of the women now are finishing their school. They're like, no, we're not going to get married. Daniel wants everybody to get married at 6 or 9 years old. But however, we don't want to get married at that age. Women are waiting till their 30s, you know, they are waiting till they finish their schooling, their college, their universities, get an education, get a decent job, and then they will look for a partner. Another thing that he mentioned, oh, these women want these guys like this and this. Why, if I have a house, I have worked my butt off to be where I am, why am I going to look for a bum? I'm actually going to look for somebody that at least at the same level as me. Okay, why do I have to bring my standards low? That was back in the days where women didn't have anything, right? So we had no choice. We had no choice in saying yes or no. Arranged marriage, and here you go. You go with him. It's like, you know, a goat tied to you and you're sold off to somebody. But that's not happening now, right? So we're not being sold. We make our own money. We don't need guardianship, and men don't like that. If I want somebody in my life, I'm not going to bring a bum. Why? Like, what were you doing? Why aren't you every single card was laid out for you? Men have every single card laid out for them, and they still lose and they're still behind. And all they keep saying is like, oh, these women, they're just taking it from the government. Where? I don't take from the government. I actually have been contributing. We are contributing. You know, you take away the women that are working right now, your economy is going to go like this. 50% of your working force is going to go down like this. You know, and this is just the beginning. Watch, in the future is going to be different. My last point that he was talking about, sexualization, right? Nobody sexualized more than Islam, where non-Muslim women were sold as sex slaves, okay, by their mahrams over and over again. Not to mention the prophet saw his adopted son's wife, and the next day he's like, no, God ordered me to marry her. So then he gets married to her. Like, let's not even go there with the sexualization of women and like taking advantage of women sexually. Thank you.
We'll kick it over to Daniel for the second rebuttal, 7 minutes, and want to let you know a couple of quick things. Folks, we have so many things going on right now. Just give me a second. So many housekeeping things. First, if you have not heard, on social media, we have announced the DebateCon 6. Our 6th conference for Modern Day Debate will be happening in Nashville, Tennessee, Saturday, November 15th, and Sunday, November 16th. It is going to be huge. I'll stick with that one for now, and then I'll give you more as we go. Daniel, the floor is all yours for your 7-minute rebuttal.
I need to share my screen again.
Ready, set, go. Again, folks, that's Saturday, November 15th and 16th in Nashville is where DebateCon 6 will happen this fall. Ready for you, Daniel.
Okay, so I'm a little confused because does Malise accept that you need guardians for the state, for companies, if you work for a corporation or a business, if you're in the military, if you are going to school? Like, don't you accept hierarchy in those situations? Don't you accept that there is one person in charge? So you agree with the concept of hierarchy and you agree with the concept of guardianship. You just don't agree with it in the case of families. Why? This is inconsistent from your part and on the part of feminists in general. If women are more capable in the family context, as she keeps claiming, then why do women need so much state support? Why do women need so much welfare? I showed you the stats. She says that, oh, well, I get a little bit of child credit. Okay, are you getting any kind of child support? Is the father of your children paying any kind of child support or supporting in any way? You are benefiting from men in that case. You also depend on men for protection. You depend on a police force. You depend on that police force to protect you if there's any kind of attack on you or your property or your children. You also depend on male-run infrastructure. Look at all of the infrastructure that we find in countries around the world. Men are primarily making sure that the electric grid is running, making sure that there is clean running water, building the homes, building the streets, making sure that there's gas for heating if you're living in a cold environment. All of this infrastructure is dominated by men. Men are doing the dirty jobs that women just don't do or they can't do because they're physically weaker than men or they don't have the capacity, the intellectual capacity to do. So even the women who are living comfortably in their air-conditioned houses and they're going to their office jobs and making their checks, they still rely on men in all of these different ways. And then also I have to ask my opponent, you might not need so much welfare today, but you need health care. You need elder care in the future. You might have to rely on the state to support you in your old age when you can't work. You'll have to get retirement. You'll have to get a pension. You'll have to get some kind of social security if you're in America. Again, men are paying much more into that than women are, yet women are benefiting more from things like social security for that older age group. So I mentioned this.
So
you said no one helped me when sorry, no one.
Are we gonna go back and forth, or we're gonna do 7 minutes again?
This is
still a rebuttal.
The second last rebuttal, so there will be one last 7 minute from you, and then we'll go into open dialogue.
So she said no one helped me when I was pregnant, again, like you're relying on this infrastructure, you're relying on protection from police. You might not have noticed it. You might not have, because you take for granted the safety that is created by men, men that you don't know, men that you don't do anything for, but you are still reliant and dependent on men. If those men were gone and you were in a state of nature, for example, if there was an economic collapse, then what would you do as a pregnant woman? You would have to find a male guardian to protect you. Also, this whole debate is not just about what is good for women. We're also talking about what's good for society. So even if women can maximize their happiness or maximize their pleasure by being these single, independent boss babes, what about the rest of society? What about children? What about men? These are also important. We have to do what's best for everyone. And independent women has been a disaster for the entire human race. You've said, why don't men give away their freedom? Would you like that? Men do give away their freedom. Men do give away their freedom. When men are guardians, they have duties. A man doesn't have a choice. When he's a guardian, he has to protect his wife and kids. So if he is at home sleeping at night with his family, and there's a burglar that comes and breaks the window to come in and kill the family, the man is required to step up. The man is required to put himself and his life in danger to protect his wife and kids. That's not freedom. A man has to go and slave away in order to make money to feed his wife and children, to support them, to put a house over, or a roof over their heads. This is a requirement for men. And then the way that the feminist legal system works in the world today is that even if they get divorced, the man still is forced to pay child support. He's forced to pay alimony by the courts. And if he misses a child support payment, he will be put in prison. How is that not slavery? How is that not a lack of freedom that men have to suffer for the support of women and children? She says that women make our own money. We make our money. This is again just a illusion. It's a myth. Women rely on a very specific set, a narrow set of jobs, office jobs that only exist in a current capitalistic structure and the current with a certain size middle class, a certain economy that supports these middle class, these office jobs that women can go and pretend like they are the earners. If there's an economic downturn, if there is economic collapse and the middle class disappears, then suddenly women will have to return to the world's oldest profession, which we know is prostitution. They'll have to start selling themselves. And then at that point, it becomes very attractive to have a male guardian. It becomes very attractive to give away some of your freedom in order to have a man to protect you, to provide for you, because women don't and aren't able to go dig ditches. They're not able to go and do the hard jobs on the farms, in terms of hunting, in terms of doing all of these tasks that are needed for survival. And this is, again, why this is a biological reality. Male guardianship is a biological reality. It has nothing to do with any particular culture or exploitation of a particular religion like Islam. And she mentioned Khadija again, like why Khadija got all her wealth from her husbands. Her wealth she inherited from her husbands who were wealthy, and they passed away, and she inherited all her wealth. She wasn't a self-made woman. So this idea of Khadija as a Fortune 500 CEO, this is a meme. This is not actual historical reality in Islam. Now, here's a question for Malise, a conceptual question. Imagine in the future, there were state-supplied robots that could raise children, AI that could raise children. Could children in the future then say they never needed parents and that past forms of parenting were created just to exploit children? Yeah. Because in the past, children had to depend on their parents. That's the same as what's happening with women. Women rely on basically a state structure, technologies, infrastructure, and they're saying that, well, guardianship was on just exploitation in the past. It's a similar analogy.
We'll kick it over to Malise for this final 7-minute rebuttal before we go into the open dialogue. Malise, the floor is all yours for your rebuttal as well.
Okay, so I'm going to start with when he said that, oh, she will take authority from state. And I keep getting that. Oh, yeah, you'll work for a man. You will listen and take orders from him. Listen, my boss, if he tries to touch me sexually, I can take him to court because the system has created this way. If they try to mess me up and they don't pay me for my time that I'm there for, then I can take them to court. However, at home with my husband or with my father, I am working unaccounted hours. Women are working extreme amount of hours more than men at home in unpaid labor. Okay, so the whole fact that you're comparing state as an authority to the guardianship that I know where it's coming from, Wally, which is going to check like, oh, did you go and sleep with this guy? Is your vagina still intact or not? Or you're still virgin or not? That is a whole different story. My boss is not going to come and check for that for me, right? He's not going to be like, oh, did you talk to this man or whatever? He was talking about child support. Now, you have a choice. You can take full custody of the kids and I'll pay child support, right? My ex pays $400 child support. You think raising a child, $400 is enough? So he gets his free time. He doesn't have to spend any time. He doesn't have to spend a dime. My time is taken. My whole life is taken. I sacrifice everything. So he's that $400. He's not paying to me. He's paying towards his child, which is his child. If I, as a woman taking responsibility of that child, you want me to take 100% of the responsibility of that child because we separated. So his responsibility is done now. Because the woman divorces and they get separated, the man doesn't have any responsibility over the kid. He shouldn't pay any child support, right? Alimony, I don't get alimony because I was never married. So I'm not even going to talk about that. Police, yes, police do protect women, right? Because that is how our system. However, there's also women in police force now. Actually, a few times that I've had to call the cops. The last time that I had to call the cops on a man, it was a female that handled my case, right? So we have female police officers up there. And why do we even need protection and police? Because other men, right? At the end of the day, problem is men, because there is men that are there to hurt us. And it was actually somebody that I knew that was actually doing all that. They keep bringing the infrastructure. We created this for you. We created that for you. Again, I'm going to tell you that women have worked outside in the fields, the poor women have, and infrastructure was created by you at that time because we weren't allowed in certain things. You never allowed us. Now that we are being allowed, we are creating things. We are doing a lot of different things. Now, I know you don't believe that. I think some people are still living in the 7th century, but let me bring you forward to the 21st century now. So we have a place of great men. I told you this last time too, where I met 2 women in their 60 plus. They're out there in the wilderness, building their own cabin, surviving there, camping there, and living it there. There's no men. There is men around, but they are in their cabin. They take care of their responsibilities. So the fact that you're saying that women can't survive alone in today's world, that is just, I don't know, it's delusional for me. Then he talked about dirty jobs. We do dirty jobs. Women are working in nursing, okay, old age centers, and then we do the most dirtiest jobs. We change the most dirtiest diapers, okay, of numerous kids all day long. So you don't want to talk about dirty shit? We literally wipe shit, and you want us to be our full-time job, have babies and wipe shit all day. Then you're happy. And then you were talking about the safety, because we as civilized human beings came to this conclusion that civilized societies should give everybody rights, and women that are vulnerable should be protected. Because if there is no women, guess what? There is no more babies. And if there's no more babies, you know how it's declining, right? So we should treasure them. We should, take care of them. So the sensible societies came up with laws and they set up this security system for us. So the same guy that is going to come, if I'm getting attacked, is going to come and protect a man too. I'm not the only one calling the cops from protection. There's men also calling cops for protection when they're also getting attacked by other men. Okay. Men are also, again, killed mostly by men. So like the whole fact that you keep pushing that I need somebody to sit here and tell me what I need to do, how I need to do it. I need somebody on my head. I need this money. And you kept making all these points that I'm getting. They're all fake, false accusations that are putting up here. In today's age, I know of a lot of women that are making more than men. And this is a huge problem in relationships. It is, because men that are they can't match up. It's very hard, and they get sour, and then they have started hating women. They will hate women because you make so much more and you have such a better life. I have a house. A lot of these men don't, and I didn't get it from divorce either. It's my own. So that pisses me off even more, because whenever I say I have a house, they're like, "Oh, you probably got it from your ex, whatever." So the fact that they just cannot accept this, that women are doing better, and give us another 100 years. Oh my God, we've just gotten started. But like I said, cherish the women. You can't control them. You want to control, we don't want to control. Be nice to us, and then we'll be nice to you. But like I said, in today's age, we don't need no guardianship. Nobody needs to tell me what to do.
You got it. Thank you very much. And as you can see, folks, before we jump into the open dialogue, at the bottom right of your screen, you can see right now Modern Day Debate is collaborating with different universities to bring debates back to university campuses. If you happen to have a campus group you're affiliated with, this is a great opportunity. If you'd like to have a huge debate on your campus, reach out to moderndaydebate@gmail.com, as we are excited to collaborate. We already have one campus that we're talking about how we can collaborate to bring epic debates to their campus. Reach out to moderndaydebate@gmail.com if that bottom right corner of the screen appeals to you. That we're going to kick it into open dialogue. This is going to be 2-minute segments, just so things don't go too overboard. We'll start with Daniel. The floor is all yours for 2 minutes.
Sure, there's a lot to respond to. She says that, well, in the past, women weren't going and digging ditches. They weren't going into the military. They weren't doing these kinds of manual labor because they weren't allowed. But now women have the freedom and they're kicking butt in these fields. That's completely false. Women have the choice now to go into fields like logging, to go into construction work, to be truck drivers, but they don't. 95% of logging in terms of lumber are men. In fishing, being on one of those fishing vessels and going into the deep ocean, 100%, 99.9% are men. Roofers, 98% of roofers are men. Trash collectors, 91% are men. Truck drivers are 94% men. Iron and steel workers are 98% men. Farmers and ranchers are 75% men, agricultural workers, 79%, and so on and so forth. So even when now that women have the choice, they don't choose to go into these jobs. They're not doing manual labor. Just because you know that two women are like camping in the woods, that doesn't change the fact that it's predominantly men, past and present, who are taking care of infrastructure and making sure the world goes round. Let's see. She mentioned that she gets $400 in child support. The fact of the matter is that women are the main ones in terms of initiating divorce, initiating breakup. It is predominantly women, 75% and up to 90% of divorces and breakups, even in the case of non-marriage, are initiated by the woman. Yet they are required, men are the ones who are required to provide that child support. They don't have any option in that. Even if they wanted to stay together, even if they wanted to be with the woman, the child support is still required to come from the man.
Time, Malise.
Actually, that's wrong. No, I did not want to be his second wife, right? I was like, I want to be the only one with you, and he was choosing, no, I want two of them. So I said, okay. At that point, I think I had a choice, and I'm glad that at this point at this time, I have the choice. See, a long time ago, women didn't have a choice to walk away. They couldn't. Even today, in some parts of the world, you need a man's permission to even file for divorce. Okay, some of the Islamic countries. So I'm glad women are getting more divorces. Yes, because we have a choice. We can get a divorce now. Before, women suffered. We didn't have a choice. that you were talking about. Sorry, what was the first thing that you were talking about before? That, oh, we don't want to do these jobs. We are doing these jobs. Garbage man, like my garbage truck comes up here. It's all and now it's all like mechanic. Like, you know, the arm comes in, they grab the garbage bin and they tip it over. There's women. Actually, I had seen women before when they used to actually lift it up. I saw two women, and I was shocked to see them too. So the fact that it's going to take us time, right? We've only started getting into these jobs right now. You are like, oh, why aren't all these women in these jobs? Well, give us some time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It's not that we got our rights overnight. You're like, no, there should be all be in this way. There should be all in this. The fact that even those two women can build that whole cabin by themselves, and forget that, forget everything. Soon everything is going to be taken over by robots. These men take pride. Oh, we're gonna do this construction work and this sit there, and it's like, lift this, lift that. You know how many women now are getting into actually heavy machinery because, oh yeah, it's big bucks. So now you even see women getting into that as well. But yeah, the whole fact that you're saying that women are leaving men, that is true, because men need to do better. And now they don't want to stay in abusive relationships anymore.
Time. We'll go over to Daniel for 2 minutes.
Yeah, so she says that women now have a choice for divorce. Yeah, it's been a disaster. It's been a disaster that women have a choice for divorce because marriage is collapsing. Women keep getting out of marriages, getting out of marriage contracts. You have no fault divorce. So a woman can just decide unilaterally, yeah, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And the marriage collapses, family collapses. So I want my opponent and the audience to stop thinking purely in terms of what makes women happy. What about the rest of society? If marriage collapses and divorce rates increase, that causes catastrophe for children. It causes catastrophe for every aspect of society. The birth rate is collapsing. These countries, many countries in the West, in Northeast Asia, like Japan and South Korea, and increasingly China, the fertility rate has gone below replacement level. So these countries the population is going to become extinct. Why? Oh, because women need to have the choice to get divorced. Women need to have the choice. Women's choice is the God that we all have to worship over everything else. No, I say no to that. Women should not have ultimate freedom. Their freedom needs to be restricted in certain key ways. Not all of their freedom, but they just need to have less freedom so that the society can exist, so that children can exist. We have a birth rate so that society doesn't collapse. That's my perspective. What my opponent is arguing is for the collapse of human civilization, all of these, the birth rate collapse of marriage, because I want to be able to, make choices. Like, what kind of choices are you making that are so monumental that you have to have the freedom to make those? What choices? You work for a boss. You work at a company. If your boss says, if your boss says, you have to do this or that, you have to obey him. Otherwise, he's gonna fire you, and you're gonna be homeless.
Time, Malise, for 2 minutes.
I love it. I love it because I know all these men are gonna throw. I work for myself. I am the boss, so I don't work for a boss, right? So that one's. And I know a lot of women, they work for themselves. They don't work for a boss. It doesn't matter if a boss is a man or a woman. I also know Muhammad worked for Khadija for the longest time. So, I mean, like, what are we talking about here, right? Malise doesn't want, it just seems like the society just wants women to be miserable. Society will just get better. Just put all these women under control. That's all. Society is going to get all better. When women were subjugated at home, used as baby making machines, right? You could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wives, keep them all, one night with one night with the other one. They're talking about keeping a family. You don't even know anything about starting a family. Do you even know how it feels for a woman to watch her man go to another woman? No, you don't even respect that. And men are doing that. Women are choosing to stay single. Yes, the society is going to collapse. So what should you do? Instead of changing, making yourself better, you want to enslave women. You want to force them to give up their freedom because we want to save society. If that is the case, it's not going to get better. Like I said, it is not for your thing. Like Islam is growing. You guys are multiplying. Why? Because 4 wives and multiply 4 kids, 4 wives, that's like 16 kids per person, right? Yeah, so the Western countries do have to understand, and the men have to understand that you guys have to do better instead of coming up with this idea that he's like, they have to give up their freedom. Really? Which freedom do you want? You want me? Like, you literally are asking me stay home locked up, and when you go outside, make sure you put on that whole black thing. Like, just cover me in black. Like, remove my existence from this world. Like, this is how Daniel is saying that us women should live. We should have no name. We should do nothing. Just stay home, have babies, and just say obey to the husband.
Time. We'll kick it over to Daniel for 2 minutes.
It's interesting how you think covering yourself means removing your existence. It's because women like you, feminists, put all their value in their physical appearance, and they don't realize that there's more to being a woman and more to being a person than your physical looks. So maybe that's a newsflash. You keep saying that in today's age, women can do this. In today's age, women can do that. Okay, well, do you concede that in the past, women needed male guardians? In the past, women needed male guardians because they needed protection. They needed someone to provide for them. They needed a man to actually do the hard job of providing and protecting. So do you at least acknowledge, or you accept or concede that women of the past needed guardianship? If you can concede that, that would be a big step forward. You say, I work for myself. Okay, I don't know if that means OnlyFans, what does that exactly mean? But many women work for themselves by being prostitutes. I'm not saying that that's you. I'm saying that 10% of American women in between ages 18 and 24 are on OnlyFans. That's how they work for themselves. And a huge percentage of women that are in the workforce, it's a lot of affirmative action, gender-based affirmative action. They're getting jobs over men because of affirmative action, gender-based. And then she says polygamy is unjust. Having multiple wives is unjust. Weren't you thirsting after Musharraf? Weren't you thirsting? Musharraf was a married man. He was married, and you were asked, would you date Musharraf? And you said, yeah, I would date him. If he asked me, I would date him. So he was married, and you wanted to be his girlfriend. So you and many women are attracted to powerful men, even if those men have wives. Women want to be the side chick sometimes. Women want to be a second or third wife, and that's in your history with Musharraf. So I just found that very ironic.
Yeah, it's like, I believe in Barack. It flew too. Yeah, if you believe in propaganda and if you want to believe in fake news, I never met the guy, so I didn't want him. I didn't want him. It was created by that company. You should go talk to them because, they've started this thing, and now Hakikachu is going to sit here and talk about something like this. Okay. He was talking about OnlyFans. So even if I do OnlyFans, so what? No, so what? Because it's okay. It's okay when they sexual. See, the problem what men have, when they can control your parts, when they can control your sexual part, they can decide who you can go sleep with and who they can sell you to, or who is going to sleep with who, then they're okay. But as soon as we take control of our sexuality, then they have a problem, right? Because we've seen this, that, they've had they've had how many sex slaves, and they were sold, and then they were, bought by this. You have her for the night, I'll take her for the night. That's fine. But if the same woman decided to become a prostitute and make her own money, then they have a problem, because that takes some money away from the pimp. Basically, that's what it is. The pimps have stopped making money because OnlyFans takes only a small percentage, right? There's no pimps though. Before there were pimps, so the pimps are out of job now. They're like, oh my God, we're not making any money. This is exactly the problem, because they've always sexualized us. They've always sold women, okay? Let alone like the whole fact that you were talking about sexualization. If you, in Islam, if you get a divorce and if you want to go back to that husband, you have to literally go and sleep with another man. You have to have sexual intercourse to go back to that man. Talk about sexualization of a woman. Like, this is beyond me, it's just, yeah.
Then we'll kick it over to Daniel.
Yeah, so women being in control of their bodies and in control of their sexuality is like a toddler being in control of $1 million. That's what it's like. Would you trust a toddler with $1 million? Like, would you trust a toddler behind the wheel of a car, like driving a Ferrari? No. That's the same thing as allowing a woman to be in control of her sexuality. Because if you give a woman control over her sexuality, she immediately starts to go on OnlyFans. Just like my opponent just admitted. She admitted that she's on OnlyFans. And what's the problem with that? The problem with that is that you're not going to have your looks. Any looks that you have now, okay, is going to be lost in a matter of a few short years, if it's not already lost. So that money stream is gonna run dry. You're not gonna have any money stream. Then guess what? You're going to have to rely on the state, and these poor men paying taxes will have to provide for you because you can't provide for yourself. The OnlyFans money ran out. So she says that she keeps saying men are sexualizing women. Who's forcing you to be on OnlyFans? You didn't answer that question. Can you please answer? Who is forcing you on OnlyFans? Who is forcing you to get dressed up?
Nobody forces me.
So why are you blaming men for sexualizing? Why are you blaming men for sexualizing women? You're sexualizing yourself.
I'm not blaming. I'm glad men are sexualizing women because you know what? If they didn't. They started it. Now I'm just using what they started it. They just don't like it now that what they wanted. I'm using that as a weapon and I'm making money from it. So you have a problem. Secondly, I am on OnlyFans and I promote haram, guys. I teach you Islam on OnlyFans. I go up and down 5 times a day. I teach you how you should, put your behind up and down. And this is exactly what I teach on OnlyFans. So please do go join my OnlyFans. It's Daisy_babe. That's what because OnlyFans is not only for one thing. A lot of my content gets shadow banned here. So I have subscribers that go up there and watch my uncensored video talking about Islam. So yeah. But yeah, nobody forces me. I wouldn't say thank God. And one more thing, like, I don't know why God had it all in his hand. He could have made me an ugly woman. And, you keep talking about assets. He gave me really good assets. And then he's like, now you got to hide it all. Like, why give it to me? And men love it. I am a beautiful thing. You see a beautiful scenery. Everyone wants to look at it. It's beautiful things make you feel happy when you look at it. Who wants to look at ugly, like, ugh, you know what I mean? You want to look at something pretty, beautiful, makes you feel better. But he wants me, imagine if I was literally, imagine if I was like this. How pretty do I look now? Does that make you feel good or makes you feel freaking depressed? That's what Hakikatu wants me to look like, a garbage bin, which I refuse to. I'd rather be a beauty queen. Thank you. And I have long time to still have my looks. Good genes.
What you could have done is used your beauty to attract a husband, to attract a high value man who would be committed to you and would take care of you into your old age, would provide you with children so that you could live a very happy, fulfilled life. And you would make him happy. You would raise children who would be happy. You'd make all of society better. That's the kind of future that you could have had. You could have contributed to society. Instead, you decided to be a feminist and waste all of that on OnlyFans. Why do you think
that I don't do that already?
Waste it on OnlyFans. Your beauty could have been appreciated by a man.
I just want to hold on. We got just maybe about a minute left for Daniel.
Yeah. You could have saved your beauty for a husband who would love you, cherish you, treasure you, take care of you. Be that knight in shining armor that every woman dreams of. You could have had someone like Musharraf maybe, but you threw it away. You threw it away to be a feminist. So instead of making others follow you in your mistakes and encouraging women to make the same mistakes you did, why don't you be an advocate for guardianship? Why don't you tell women, don't be like me. Don't be on OnlyFans prostituting yourself. Make good decisions so that you don't end up like a cat lady like I am. That's what you should be doing right now, Malise.
First of all, I like dogs. Secondly, I don't know why it's just all assumptions. The fact that Daniel knows about my whole family, like my whole life. I just love it when men come into your life and then they don't know everything about you. OnlyFans only started in 2019. You think that I was an OnlyFans, like what, since I was born? This is what these men, when they talk, they throw generalized statements like that's all you've been doing all your life. You've been making money. I just told you. I prostitute Islam on OnlyFans. I literally teach Islam on OnlyFans. Right? So I don't know if is that prostitution. If that's prostitution, it's okay. But prostitution in halal way, doing halala or mutta or temporary marriages is okay. As long as you read blah 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 blah, then it makes it okay, and you can go have sex, and 2 minutes later you can say divorce. Okay, I'm done. Then it's okay. Yeah, but if somebody's doing consensually and they're doing it just for that, then it's not okay. So this whole thing that you were talking about and taking these personal jabs at me, oh, that you should have done this, you should have done that. I already have a child. Okay, my beauty is still there. I still get proposals. I choose. Women choose. You will agree with me. Women choose. The problem with men is right now, back in the days, again, I'm going to say go back in the days, this whole arranged marriage was a way for men to get laid. Okay, as soon as they were like 16, puberty, they're like, oh, get him married, because they're gonna go outside, they're gonna do something, get them married. So everybody got married very young. Now women are becoming smarter, they're making their own money. They're like, we don't want to get married to these losers. Nobody wants. So they're not even getting that. So now they're not getting sex. They're getting all frustrated. Seriously. So this is the frustration that you see here in Daniel.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Not frustrated at all. So you've been doing OnlyFans for 6 years, but prior to that, you were a beauty queen. That's another form of prostitution. Other men
Why don't you tell me? Why
other
don't you
men.
Tell me what else I did?
Hold on, I have to give
that's your whole claim to fame. That's what when James was setting up this debate. That's how he introduced you. That's how you market yourself. You're like marketing your OnlyFans, not pretending like I'm obsessed with you. Like that's your whole title. So prostituting yourself.
I didn't introduce Malise that way. I actually didn't know Malise had an OnlyFans. You're thinking of Jasmine though.
No, you said
I
beauty
do have
queen.
OnlyFans. I teach Islam on it, James. I told you. I teach you how to put your back and forth, up and down 5 times a day.
Yeah, so James said that you were a beauty queen. That's what he said. That you're former Miss Pakistan.
Totally
so that was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you did. You did. That was part of.
You're even. She was, but go ahead.
Not OnlyFans, beauty queen.
I didn't know that either until tonight.
Oh, anyway, okay.
Go ahead.
Maybe I might be confused. But point being is that you squandered your beauty, and now you're paying the consequences. You're paying the price, and it's the money stream is gonna run out. So this is something that you should reflect on and change your ways as soon as you can. You're getting proposals, accept those proposals. Accept those proposals as soon as you can, because
too young.
I'm kind of skeptical. That there are proposals actually, but if you say so, then the wise move is to accept the proposals. Find someone who's going to deal with you. Like you're a disagreeable person as well. Like how is a husband going to want to live with someone who wants to boss him around and treat him like trash, and then all of your pictures are online? What kind of husband would tolerate that? What kind of husband would agree to that? So I'm skeptical that you're getting proposals. I'm sorry about that. I should be a little bit more sympathetic. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but that's the reality.
That's okay. You know what? The guy is too young. If I was like Muhammad, then I would think about, getting married to a young guy, but I don't do it just feels weird. Like he's 15 years younger than me. That's just not right with me. So yeah, no. That's what I teach on OnlyFans. How you shouldn't be a pedophile and go after younger girls because they're fertile, at a certain age. So yeah, I know. The money stream that you're talking about, maybe I own 5 houses and I have a really good retirement income. When I was young and beautiful, I wasn't stupid, right? I was saving up money and I was looking for my future. Maybe I have a huge insurance policy. The thing is, all you're doing is assuming things. Oh, you're this, or you should have done this, you should have done that, you should accept it. All personal attacks. It has nothing to do with the qualifications that I have, whatever I did. Whether it is OnlyFans, where I sit there and talk about Islam and rip it apart every single day. So please go do join my Haram Cup. Or It is being a beauty queen, which I think I came from a country and I am proud that I did that. I encourage a lot of women and encourage them to stand up for their rights. And if they wanted to be a beauty queen, they should be able to be a beauty queen. Why not? I have been given this beauty and I'm going to share it with the world. If you have a problem, you need to cover your eyes. You're the one that can control yourself. You're the mental patient. Like, this is where I don't understand. Men are the ones that can't control themselves, yet, you know, when the person with the mental illness needs to be put away, not the victim. Here we're telling the victim, oh my God, you need to stay inside because mentally ill patients are running around outside, roaming freely. No, sir. I am fine the way I am. Unless Kikachu's looking for like 6th, 7th wife now.
Yeah, so I mean, everything, that's not true. The, again, like, just for the audience, like, everything that my opponent is saying, it's like very typical of women. They can only think of for themselves. They can only think about what is going to make me feel good, what is going to make me happy, decisions that are best for me personally. She is literally incapable of thinking about society, to thinking about like future, what is going to be the state of the world. Like, those are the kinds of thoughts and concepts that men are suited for, contemplating, planning for. And this is why men are leaders, why men are guardians, because of the cognitive capacities that they have. Women, unfortunately, do not have. I mean, that's just the way that God created them. That's why God has said that men should be the caretakers and the guardians and the authorities over women. For this very reason, women need to focus on raising children, nurturing children, educating children. That should be the role of women. And then men have the role and the duty and the responsibility to provide, to protect those women and those children, and therefore they are the authority. That is the grand system that has been sent by God, that has been legislated by God, and this is how human beings have lived for the entirety of human history, entirety of human civilization. Now feminists have decided that no, what's the most important is that I want to show my private parts online so that men will give me money. And therefore we can just burn civilization. We can burn the world to the ground because I need to get those likes. I need to get that attention from men, and I want to live an independent life. This is psychotic. This is like a psychotic mindset. It's very sick. And I don't understand why my opponent doesn't see that. Isn't it obvious? I think it's obvious to most people. Why don't you see it? That it can't just be about what you want. What about everyone else? Does it matter to you at all? If you can't see that, that just proves that you're not suited to be a guardian. You're not suited to be in that leadership role.
No, it's not what everyone, it's what men. It's what men want. It's not what everyone wants. We are working towards society. Women are looking after women. A woman that is not being abused, that is at home and is happier, is going to raise happier kids. Her kids are not growing in that toxic environment, so that is going to create the future effect for that kid. Kids that are grown in toxic environment where they're seeing their mother get beaten up every single day, you think they're better? No. So we are thinking of the community, and women are actually more involved into the community. Any communities that you go to and any communities that are running, they're ran mostly by women. Okay. Any social system that where you go to where women, kids are involved, there are women up there. They're the community leaders. You men aren't in there, and you're not even involved in any of these kids' activities and stuff. So stop saying that we don't care about the society. We don't care about this. We don't care about that. You guys just want to oppress us. And now you keep saying, like, I think like Islam has this like fascination with like sex and all that. Like they just can't get past it. Only 10%. Only 10% of women are doing OnlyFans, but they will keep going around OnlyFans prostitution, OnlyFans prostitution. Only the 90% of women that are working, that are going, that are doctors, that are pilots, that are highly achieved. Like they have so many women totally ignored. No, they're only going to worry about the OnlyFans because that's all they care about. That's all. Their whole religion, the whole ideology is about women and their vaginas, even after that. And then they say like, oh, we don't sexualize women. We don't. Women are the ones sexualizing themselves. Yeah, you sexualized us, and now I'm marketing on it. Now you have a problem. Like, you know, so I don't get it. I really don't get it. And it's the men that are on there. Actually, it's the Muslim men. I repeat that again, that it's the Muslim men in Pakistan actually watch the most gay porn and animal porn. And my OnlyFans,
Source, trust me,
most
bro.
of them are from Muslim countries. Let me just tell you, all men.
Yeah. Okay. So again, she can't conceive of anyone other than herself. This is like narcissism on steroids. Children raised by single mothers suffer the worst kinds of results. Let me read you some stats. So Mark Regnerus, professor at the University of Texas, says children reared in homes headed by single mothers are going to suffer from more depression. They're going to have more drug use. They're going to be on more public assistance as adults. They're going to have more, they're going to need more mental health counseling and therapy because they're suffering from psychological problems. They're going to have problems in graduating. They're going to have more problems becoming addicted to drugs and other destructive behaviors. This is the result of single motherhood. It's a disaster for children who are raised without their fathers. But as long as a woman gets to choose how she lives her life, that's the most important thing. Who cares about these kids? Let them be more depressed, more likely to, end themselves. I don't want to use the word for YouTube. End themselves. They're going to be more likely to be homeless. That's fine as long as I get to choose for myself. Do you not care about children? Do you not care about your own child or the future of your children? You keep saying that you don't want a husband, you don't want, you don't care. I doubt that you're getting proposals, but even if it's true that you're getting proposals, don't you care about your child having a man, a father figure in his life so that he's going to be more, he or she, I don't know what gender is, your child is going to be more likely to succeed in life? Don't you care? I know that you care. I know that you're a loving mother. So you need to make better choices for his future. Do you think that child is going to be happy about his mom being on OnlyFans? What's going to happen when he grows up and the kids in his class start making fun of him because of that? Don't you care about his future?
Oh, God. It's the same points, Orner. Don't you worry about this. Do you know porn stars kids go up there to school too? Yeah, my child is going to know, and I'm going to tell them, yes, I rip apart Islam. I tell the reality of Islam on OnlyFans. Go and subscribe so you can learn the truth about Islam. What a fake religion that is, right? So yeah, no, I have no problem with that. Again, where is your thing that all these single women that are raising kids? Where is your stats, and what are you comparing these stats to? Do you have stats from back in the days, 100 years ago? Do you have stats that those kids are better and they were raised better and not? I believe that a child that is being raised in a sane, happy home is better than being in a toxic home. My father was there. The only thing that I remember about him is beating my mother up. That's it. That's all he did. He came home drunk. He was a Muslim, came home drunk and just beat up my mother every single day, almost every single day. We were happy that he died. We were literally happy that he died. So why would I want something toxic in front of my child? Right now, what she has is a loving home. She doesn't have the toxicity of a masculine man that is shoving me around or calling me abusive names in front of her. I do not want that kind of atmosphere for my child. Any kind of toxic environment, I will keep my child away from. Okay, which you're telling me to put my child under there. I need a man. Why? No, my priority is my child, and my priority is for her future, working towards her future. That's why I work hard, so she doesn't have to, and she goes and she gets a good education and gets a good job. I'm working towards her future and mine. So, but then again, a man has to come tell me, oh, you've made mistakes. You got to live it this way because our imaginary God told us to. God is also man-made, a man-made God. And then man made all this religion according to him. He can have 4 women every day, a different taste, but I have to oh my God, get sealed up. You know what I mean? Which God are you talking about?
Go ahead, Daniel.
So I'm sorry that your dad mistreated you and your mom. That's very unfortunate. I feel bad that you experienced that. But that's just your dad. Like, again, think about beyond your personal experience. You can, I'm citing you statistics, get out of anecdotal examples and think about the larger statistics. That's what you have to make decisions on. Again, this is a quality of male decision-making as opposed to female decision-making. Female decision-making is anecdotal, how I feel, what I saw in my personal life. Male decision-making is on the basis of statistics, on the basis of general trends, on the basis of cause and effect. That's the difference between male decision-making and female decision-making. And you've proved in this very debate why males need to be guardians over women. But I have a question for you, and I hope you'll answer this. Do you want your daughter to follow in your footsteps and go onto OnlyFans when she grows up?
When my daughter grows up and she's an adult, she can make her own decisions. It doesn't matter what she wants to do. I am not one to control her. She's going to make her own decision. It all depends on how I raise her, that she's smart enough to make smart decisions. That's what I would say.
You'd be happy if she were on OnlyFans?
If she wanted to, yeah. If she wanted to, it's her choice. I'm not going to stop her from doing anything.
Would you prefer that she were on OnlyFans?
How do you know your kid is not going to grow up to be a serial killer?
I don't know that.
Exactly.
I have to make decisions. I have to make decisions.
If your kid is a serial killer, then what?
I'll be very disappointed. But when I asked you if you'd be disappointed if your daughter was on OnlyFans, you said, no, I'd be happy as long as she makes a decision. Here's another question. Would you be happier if your daughter was on OnlyFans or she was in a family, had a husband,
What's this obsession? Hang on 1 second. So the whole point that he felt very sorry for my mom, I'll tell you why that was happening. So Surah Nisa, right? Now my dad went to the priest, right? And he's like, she's misbehaving and all this shit. So this is what the Maulvi said. Well, she's your woman. You're the caretaker of her, even though you wasn't taking care. You can beat her up, right? So Surah Nisa, this is Quran 434. It says, men are the caretakers of women. You guys can Google this, it's on there. Men are the caretakers of women, as men have been provised by Allah over women and tasked with supporting them financially. And righteous women and devoutly obedient, and when alone protective of what Allah has entrusted them with, of course, they're, what? And if you sense ill conduct from your women, advise them first. If they persist, do not share their bed. If they still persist, discipline them gently. But if they change their ways, do not unjust them. So this is what my father was told by the Maulvi, and then he would come and he would beat my mother up every single day till he died. So then we got free. And after that, then it was his other family, the other guardians that wanted to take over us and ruin our lives. That's when my mother made the decision to take us and bring us here, which was the best decision of my life, where I can now freely live here and provide a good future for my kid. At least, you know what? I don't have problem with her doing OnlyFans. Let me ask you a question. Would you be happy if you were to get your 6-year-old daughter married to a 50-year-old man? Would you be okay with that?
Let me answer my question first because you dodged it. My question is, no, you cut me off as I was asking you this question. If your daughter has the choice of being an OnlyFans, and maybe it's successful OnlyFans, just like you, on one hand, that's one choice. Or the second option is that she has a male guardian. She has a loving husband that's going to take care of her. They're going to have many children together. They're going to grow old together. Those are the two options. She can have independence and freedom, or she can be happily married under a male guardian. Which one is better in your eyes?
As an adult, again, she is going to be responsible for her own decision. If she finds a man that she wants to be settling down with, that's her decision, and I'm going to support her. If she wants to do OnlyFans and as an adult, that's her decision. Now, question:
what would you advise her? What would you advise her? She's saying,
I can advise her whatever.
Mom, I have these two options. I can go into OnlyFans and make a quick buck, or I prostitute myself, or I can get married to this man who's going to be my guardian. He's like a traditional Muslim. He's like Daniel Hayraju. He's going to be my male guardian, and I'm going to be happy. Which is the better option? What do you advise me, Mom? I want to choose what you think is best.
I'm gonna tell her, find a man that will do OnlyFans with you. That way you guys can, have both do that. Now, back to
It's
my
crazy. So
question.
you
Will
can't
you
answer.
get your
You can't answer seriously.
I
That's
just told
crazy.
you, I
You
will
want
tell
your
her. I'm answering my question.
you want
You're not letting me
you
answer.
want your daughter to be in pornography? That's crazy.
Yeah, no. This is a hypothetical
that's what
question,
you would
right?
advise her to go into
Uh,
pornography. That's
I
insane.
didn't say that. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
if
you
she
did.
found
You
a
did
man,
say
I
that.
would say that. Now, my question is, would
You
you
did say
like your
that.
6-year-old daughter to be married to a
You did say
50-year-old
that.
man?
I would like my daughter. I don't have any daughters. I have sons. But if I had a
If you
daughter,
had
I
a
would
daughter.
encourage her to get married early. I would encourage her,
How
and
early?
I'd find a suitable husband for her who will take care of her and who will be her guardian, who will guide her, who will
How
protect
early?
her
I'm
with
talking
good
about
values.
6-year-old. 6-year-old.
I will have the foresight and the protective qualities of a good male guardian to make sure that she marries someone who's suitable, who can take care of her when she is at the right age for that. And that varies between different people. It varies on the basis of maturity. It varies on the basis of
what
physical maturity.
What's maturity?
The maturity is physical maturity when she's ready
Like
for a relationship.
Like what?
When she's
like
physically
after you have your
mature.
after you get your period, or like there
as
is
soon as she is going through puberty, she starts having desires for men. She starts having that kind. Instead of having your approach of telling her, "Oh, you have desires for guys, start prostituting yourselves. Go on to OnlyFans." I'll tell her that, okay, instead of this life of disgusting immorality, you need to get into a marriage. You need to get with a husband. Now, when your assets as a young woman are at their peak value, we need to get you the best man, the man who is going to be the best in terms of his religion, in terms of his looks, in terms of his status, in terms of his means and network. We're going to find you the best husband. That's what I encourage. You are telling young girls to go to OnlyFans and to prostitute themselves.
No, I'm not telling. Again, don't keep putting stuff in my mouth. Again, don't keep putting stuff in my mouth that I never.
So when your daughter, when your daughter
is so obsessed with my OnlyFans, he's gonna go subscribe to it
when your daughter, no, when your daughter,
the only thing he's talking about is my OnlyFans.
I have to break it into 2 minutes. I have to break it into 2-minute intervals, just because I appreciate your guys' assertive personalities. But we have to be sure that we hear each of you.
Okay, so can I please respond? I don't know this obsession with OnlyFans that you've got, and you're just like prostitute. I don't know what is it with Muslim men. Every time I talk to them, they just can't go past sex and OnlyFans, sex and OnlyFans. That's just the whole circular argument. But I want to know is that you were talking about, forcing the child into prostitution. I don't know in states how many 11-year-old prostitutes there are, but as you were saying, some women can, some girls can have periods at 10, 11. So are you saying that they're okay to get married to at 10, at 11?
Yeah, I did say that. I did say, and that's something that's better. That's something that is better than your solution. So imagine your daughter comes to you. It's the same situation.
I never said that a 10 or 11-year-old.
James, she's interrupting. She's interrupting.
Let's hear from Daniel.
No, but you keep putting words in my mouth. You keep saying that I am telling a 10
or
11-year-old should go on OnlyFans.
No.
As an adult, what she wants to do.
Listen for a second, lady. This scenario I'm giving you now is your 10-year-old comes to you at 10 years old and says, "Mommy, I really think the boy in my second grade class or third grade class is really hot. Can I be his girlfriend? Can I be with him? And I think I'm ready to be sexually active at 10 years old." What are you going to tell your 10-year-old daughter? Are you going to restrict her and say, "No, how dare you"? Are you going to be that kind of overbearing mother? Or are you going to say, "Oh, please, 10-year-old daughter, go ahead, have that boyfriend, have multiple boyfriends, do serial dating. That's great." What are you going to tell your 10-year-old daughter?
Well, my 10-year-old daughter, I will tell her that right now she's not sexually ready, mentally ready.
Yes, I am, Mom. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Or anything. No, she.
How do you know? I want to make my own decisions, Mom. I want to make my own decisions, Mom. You can't control me.
Again, where I live.
You can't control me, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, it's not
I
Islam.
really like this
Hold on.
boy. I
Okay,
really love
just
this
to-
boy.
hold
Daniel,
on.
it's not
I have to-
Islam.
we have
It's
to hear
not
from-
Islam where we
we
force
have to hear from
6-year-olds.
Malise.
No, no.
No,
It's
I
not
want to do it,
Islam.
Mom. I want to do it, Mom. That's my choice. You can't tell me I'm not mature. How dare you? You're so controlling. You're like those mullahs.
I don't know. We were here for watching a skit or something. No. No. Because here, if a little girl that comes, actually, it's so funny because right now is where the age she's at, they're actually teaching them about sex in school. Right. So the thing is, we talk openly about these things. I talk to my daughter openly. If she likes someone, I want to know about it. She was today. It's so funny because they were talking about protection and stuff like this.
Oh, so
and
you
I
want
was
your
telling them,
10-year-old to be
what
sexually
is
active?
protection? Let me please don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Listen, 10-year-olds should not be having sex with
Why?
anybody.
Why?
They shouldn't because they're not
It's
ready.
their choice.
Physically,
It's
they're
their
not
choice.
ready.
Who said? Who said?
They're not physically
Who
ready.
said? They're
Just
teaching
to-
them. They're teaching them
Medical
in.
science says
They're teaching them in schools because they're ready. They're teaching it
they're
in school.
teaching
Sex
them
ed.
in schools
Sex ed. They're
because-
teaching them in
so-
kindergarten.
Yes.
Sex ed in kindergarten because they're ready.
I'll give you a chance to respond, Malise, but I do have to redirect us back to the original debate question for tonight, which is whether or not women need an authority or guardian. And Malise, go ahead.
The
But then we have to
fact
go
that
back.
in Pakistan, there in these countries, nobody is taught. My child, I taught her when she was 2-year-old what is good touch, what is bad touch. You have to teach your kids, okay? Because when you don't, then you have your what were these our guardians are the ones that will come and commit and do things for you. Like I said, mostly women are, and men, actually little boys, are sexualized by their family members, okay? So this is good that they're taught. Like my daughter, that's what I was telling her today. I was talking to her how back in the days there was a lot of teen pregnancies. However, the teen pregnancies have gone down. Things are changing because we're educating our girls. This is exactly what we need to do. We're not sitting there and telling them, oh, you should go ahead and have sex. So with Daniel, it's okay if a 10-year-old gets married to a 50-year-old. That's fine.
So the actual topic for tonight, whether or not women need guardians or authorities, let's jump back into it.
Yeah, so we don't need guardians because we are not even saying who's going to save us from our guardians. If they're the ones abusing us and raping us, then what do we do?
I mean, see, this is her hypocrisy. She wants to be the guardian of her daughter. She wants to control her daughter and tell her what her daughter can do. That's hypocrisy. She accepts guardians if she's the guardian. She accepts even though she's the worst possible guardian, because she says that I'll be perfectly fine with my daughter going into OnlyFans as opposed to having a loving husband. So she's the worst guardian.
Said that. No, I never said that. Don't twist my words. Daniel, don't lie. I never said that.
So
whatever decision
she is. This is her hypocrisy.
Right,
this is her hypocrisy. This is her.
Not to lie. Like he's blatantly lying here in front of my face.
Okay, so what
this is her hypocrisy.
2-minute seconds, and then if you feel like they're lying about you, you'll be able to rebut it in your 2-minute section as well. Yeah, and you have about 50 seconds left in yours.
Yeah, so this is her hypocrisy. She wants to be the guardian of her daughter, tell her daughter, you can do this, you can't do that. No, you can't have a boyfriend. No, you are attracted to these boys at school or maybe girls at school, but no, you can't do that because I'm an overbearing, dictatorial mom. That's her hypocrisy. So this is the really crux of the debate. It is about guardianship. This topic of what she allows her daughter to do, that is guardianship. And in the same way, men have to be guardians of women because women don't have the kind of decision-making that allows them to make good choices for themselves and for their futures and for their children, as is proven in this very debate. We're proving exactly why male guardians are needed.
We'll
it's
give
so
it to
funny
Malise
because
for 2 minutes.
I can't believe like the whole debate he's been like, we're so stupid, like he's telling us this. What Daniel doesn't understand.
You proved it.
That till you're 18, till a child is 18, she's my responsibility. That's why I am the guardian. If I don't take care of her, if I don't clothe her properly, if I don't take care of her, guess what? The government comes after me and takes my child away. After she's an adult, she can do whatever she wants. But because Daniel thinks an 11-year-old is a fully grown, mature woman that is ready to have whatever, right? That's why he keeps bringing that up. But for me, yeah, it's a child, 11-year-old. As
Why?
an adult, if my child comes to me and says, "Oh, I found a loving husband and this is what I'm going to do," I'm going to tell her exactly what that, I'm going to give her all my advices. She wants to go ahead, do it. She wants to go do OnlyFans, I'll give her all my advices. I'll tell her the pros and cons. She wants to go do it. No one said here that a 10-year-old should be going and doing any of those things. And I'm a guardian of a 10-year-old. You want to be a guardian to a grown woman that can use her own brain. And now you're saying that women have no brain while you're sitting here telling me she wants to be a guardian to an 11-year-old. Like, seriously.
First of all, as a guardian,
you don't think an 11-year-old should have a guardian? You don't think so?
No, but listen to the logic here. Why do children have guardians? You accept that, but implicitly is because exactly they don't have the mental capacity to make decisions.
Just to be sure that we're tossing the baton, is Malise, you have 30 or now it's about 20 seconds left if you want it.
I'm done.
Okay. We're gonna start it for Daniel for 2 minutes.
So the implicit assumption that you have is that children need guardians because they are not able to make good decisions for themselves. That's the reason that they need a guardian. It's the same exact logic for why women need guardians, because they are squandering their assets. They are making bad long-term decisions. They're not cognitively able to in the same extent that men are. And by the way, they do depend on men, even when they claim to be independent. I showed all of those economic stats that you weren't able to address. So the same reason that women need guardians is why children need guardians, because they're not able to make decisions for themselves. Now, you claim that you're a guardian of your child, your daughter. If she decides tomorrow that she wants to have a boyfriend, guess what? You can't tell her not to. You can't control her, because even the parental rights, the same feminist system that destroyed male guardianship is destroying parental guardianship. So if your daughter as a 10-year-old wants to go have a boyfriend and be sexually active, you can't tell her anything. You can't prevent her from that relationship. And if you do, that's considered child abuse, and the state will come and take your child away from you as an abusive mother. So you're not actually the guardian legally of your own children. She can be sexually active, and you have no say in that. Do you realize that? Do you know that?
Picking it
Yeah,
over.
so do your kids. Same thing with you. I guess if a kid wants
It's a disaster.
Go and do it, that's fine.
It's a disaster.
But my job is to educate my child. If she wants to go do it, obviously I can't stop her. And that's with anybody's kids. That's with anybody's kids, right? Like you're saying, oh, she's going to go at 11-year-old. I don't know which 11-year-olds are going and having sex. I think you're just obsessed with 11-year-olds and sex. Like whole conversation has just been up there. Again, please, everybody, listen to this, what he is saying. That why do I want to be a guardian to an 11-year-old? He's comparing a child to a grown women that have fully developed brain, that carry a child for 9 months, that deliver a child, that raise that kid, but we're still so stupid. But we still realize an 11-year-old girl is still a child, whereas Hakikatu here thinks an 11-year-old is ready to have sex with a 50-year-old man, okay? I think an 11-year-old should be under the guidance of a parent, but he thinks she should already be married, popping babies out there, you know? So this is, I'm just trying to figure out whose brain is where, and like, seriously, because this is just crazy talk. Like, how can you put two together? The kids and grown people. You know, one needs a guardianship. The other one doesn't. You don't need to control us.
Okay, over to Daniel.
Yeah, so I mean, again, she's not addressing the underlying logic. She can't address the hypocrisy of why children need guardians, but other people who have cognitive incapacities don't need guardians. Like, it's the same exact logic. So that's point number one. Point number two is, whether you like it or not, as soon as boys and girls start having puberty and they start having these sexual desires in a free environment that exists in public schools or the West in general, they start becoming sexually active. So the stats show that 40 to 55% of high schoolers have lost their virginity. And if you include oral sex, the percentages are much higher. And by the way, you keep talking about sexual abuse. The most sexual abuse happens in schools. It happens in public schools. Every other day you have news about some teacher some 40-year-old woman molesting a teenage boy. This is actually what's the source of so much abuse. And now you claim that male guardians are, they're perverts. Male guardians are the ones that abuse their children or abuse women. What about women who are single mothers who sexually abuse children? There's stats on that. So should we say that parenting is disqualified and being a parental guardian shouldn't happen because there are some examples of parents molesting their children? That's your logic, right, for saying that we can't have male guardians because your dad mistreated your mom. So just because there are some parents who abuse their children, unfortunately it happens, it's a small percentage, but it happens. Therefore, we should abolish all parental guardianship. That's your logic, right? So why don't you be consistent and say that we need to abolish parenting because of that kind of abuse?
Okay, so let me make something clear here. I'm not against having partners. You guys can have partners. I'm against about this guardianship, meaning ownership over the person. When you're in a relationship, when you go into a marriage, it should be a partnership. Nobody should be owning anybody, anything. Nobody should be controlling. And this is how, the more you try to control the other person, that's why they're going to leave. You cannot do that. You know, you keep going around the same thing over and over again. Oh, she's not comparing. You're comparing a child to a grown woman, a grown person who's like, even the science tells you that our brain has developed at that point. But you keep thinking we're just stupid and stupid and stupid. But again, I'm going to ask you, for you, you're thinking an 11-year-old is ready to go have sex with, and as long as she's getting married, she's fine. But if she chooses to go and do it by herself, then you're not okay with it. Let me just get that clear.
Again, the Western society is perfectly fine with even elementary schools being sexually active. That's why they teach them the sex ed in elementary schools, because they're fine with children being sexually active. You need to catch up. You need to catch up with the times. No. These curriculums have been published, and we see them very clearly. They're teaching kids about safe sex. You know, if you want to be straight, if you want to be gay, maybe you're a lesbian, maybe your gender, you're a different gender. Like, this is the educational curriculum in countries like Canada, in California, in New York. They are teaching children to be sexually active. And the age of consent for sexual activity has been lowered to that age group of 10 years old, 11 years old, as long as it's with another 10-year-old or another 12-year-old. The West, the liberal West, feminists have no problem with sexual activity of children. But again, you have a problem with that because you're a guardian. You want to be a guardian over your children. You want to control them. You want to tell them what to do. It's because you accept the concept of guardianship. But the same exact logic applies for women. I went over all the studies about how women are cognitively worse than men when it comes to making decisions. I showed. No, we're not. We can go over the studies. You want? We'll read the stats. We can read the stats. We can read the stats one more time. Maybe you didn't see it when I went over it in the presentation. Let's go through the stats.
So you're saying,
gender differences in reward-related decision processing under stress. Written by Nicole Lightfall et al., all the other authors, Social Cognitive Effect Neuroscience in 2011, published. Go read it. The impact of cortisol, reactivity to acute stress on memory, sex differences in middle-aged people, sex differences in emotional and physiological responses to social stress. We can go on and on. Gender differences in reward-related decision processing under stress. Gender differences in the cognitive control of emotion. On and on. And this was just four studies.
I just have to ask you one question.
All of them showing that women are cognitively inferior in decision making.
2 minutes. Now it's my turn. So you said that you have a problem with a 10-year-old and a 10-year-old being sexually active, but you don't have a problem if that 10-year-old was married to a 50-year-old. Are we clear on that one?
How many times do I have to say? I have a whole debate on this topic. You go watch the debate. You think that's gonna like a gotcha moment?
You answer my question, yes or no.
If it's marriage, yeah, I prefer. If the option is for a 10-year-old to be sexually active with other 10-year-olds and be a lesbian or why not? Why not? You're intolerant, Malise. Why is it wrong to be a lesbian? You're very intolerant. If the option is that, or being in a marriage,
to be a lesbian, hey,
the marriage is going to
secure who you love.
The
you
marriage.
Can't control who you love.
And why do you say that's wrong?
I
So
never said
you're
it was
fine.
wrong. I
You're
never said, are you, no, listen, why do Muslims lie so much? Literally, you want to go, you should go rewind this and see how many times you have lied and put words in my mouth. I never said it was wrong to be a lesbian. If she wants to be a lesbian, like I said, I've already had this conversation with my child because I know the society I am living in. I need to educate her. I do. You know what happens back home where you don't educate anybody? There's women, they will have their period, they don't even know what it is. They're crying, oh my God, we're bleeding. Why?
That's
Nobody
the
even told them
problem.
what period was.
You didn't have someone
Oh my God.
educating you. That's why you're in the situation you are in
There is no
today.
sex education in Pakistan, unfortunately. Exactly. They don't even teach you basic biology about your body in Pakistan. Till one day you're surprised, you're bleeding. Oh shit, I didn't even know this was something supposed to happen. The girls get molested all the time. They don't even know what's happening with them. Now that we're being taught, I told my 2-year-old, if somebody ever asks you to sit in their lap and you don't want to, you come and tell me. If somebody touches your private parts, you tell me. When they do a test at about 5 years. They'll do like a 5 or 6 years. They do a questionnaire with like who should be touching your private parts, should the doctor touch it? They did the whole thing, and my daughter passed it because I made her aware of that. Like you said, we were saying, right? Like as a guardian, because it's my job. But as a husband, if I have a husband, it is my duty as a wife to be loyal to him. He can't tell me what to wear, what to eat, who to talk to, what to work, what to do this. That is my life as a grown adult. If I compromise, that means because I love him, I will compromise. Control never works. Guardianship in those countries, in Saudi Arabia, women weren't even allowed to go outside without a guardian. Finally, they can go step outside the house without a guardian. This is what Hakikatu wants for you.
Again, if control doesn't work, you accept a parent controlling their child. You accept You accept a state. You accept a leader of a state controlling his citizens. You accept the CEO of a company. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The president of a state, the head of state, controls the citizens. How? By putting in place laws, by putting in place policies. If you disobey those laws, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get punished. So you accept the control of a president, a prime minister. You accept the control of a CEO of a business. You accept control of a parent over a child. You accept all these forms of control. But only in the case of a husband having a guardianship of his wife, do you have a problem with that? Do you say that, no, that leads to abuse or that leads to problem? This is inconsistent. Are you able to follow that logic, or is this eluding you? If control leads necessarily to abuse and it should be abolished for that reason, then you should be an anarchist. You should be against having any kind of hierarchical state with a president at the top. You should be against any kind of social institution like a corporation or a business or a university that has a president, has a chain of command. A military, you should be against the military because they have a chain of command and they have a general at the top who makes decisions. If control necessarily leads to abuse, then all of these institutions have to be abolished. But your inconsistency is that you only want the male guardianship to be abolished. This is the illogic of you as a feminist.
You're comparing like apples and oranges.
Malise, I'll give you the last 2-minute segment, and then we're going to jump into the Q&A.
Okay, I'm just saying that your comparison is totally wrong. Okay, if a president is out there, like for example, right now Trump is out there, some people that don't like him, they're out there protesting against him, right? Whereas against my guardian, if I was out there going complaining, he's probably going to come and beat me up. So the whole thing that you're comparing apples and oranges, again, I told you, like if I'm in a corporation, I get paid. If I get abused, I can go and take it to the law. They can be taken care of. But the whole control of a man is a total different thing. I don't know why you're comparing apples and oranges to that. And if I am taking it, so are you. You also listen to a corporate. You also listen to a president. So why is it all on me? You're also listening to a man. You're also under control of a man and guardianship of a man, right? So like you shouldn't be talking if that's what guardianship we're talking about. You know, I'm talking about full control of a man over my head all the time, telling me what to do and or like, you know, but wear this and go outside like that. No, that's not gonna happen.
We will jump into the Q&A. A couple of quick housekeeping things. First, folks, if you had not heard, war has broken out between Israel and Iran. If you are interested in this debate topic and you're like, hey, I would like to debate this, I'm Team Charlie Kirk, and I think that this was the smart thing to do, Israel preemptively striking. Or if you're in disagreement, you're like, hey, actually, I think that this is a bad idea, and why did Israel attack Iran? Reach out at moderndaydebate@gmail.com, as we will be hosting a debate on that topic shortly. And with that, we're going to jump into these questions. I want to remind you folks, our guests are linked in the description box. Let me just adjust the camera here. So if you'd like to hear more, you certainly can, as we have our guests linked both in the YouTube description box and the podcast. If you didn't know, all of our debates end up on the Modern Day Debate podcast within 24 hours of being live, available at fine podcast apps everywhere, including Apple and Spotify. This one from I'm Not Your Buddy Guy says, can we root for both sides to lose? Thanks for that. Joshua Jamie says, I don't know why they say that, but Joshua Jamie says, how do you feel is the cliche for therapists in the US? It's Freudian, listening and saying little. How do you square this with your statement, quote, US instills trauma in children for sleeping with adults? I don't know who this is for.
I don't understand what the question is.
Joshua Jamie in the live chat, let me know who this question is for. We'll go to the next one. Mabasnena says, women's safety depends on men, agreeing with other men to preserve that safety. In other words, they're saying, women's safety depends on men's cooperation to preserve the safety of women. If men decide to forego that agreement, who will protect women from men? I think that's for you, Malise.
Muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Malise, let me just unmute you really quick. We didn't catch any of your
Sorry,
answers.
yeah. No, so what he's saying is like men are evil and they're not going to change their ways. The good men are not going to hold the bad men accountable. They're just going to say, well, you need us to protect you from the bad men. We're not going to hold them accountable. We're just going to tell you that you need to obey. So, it's just a blame game. You just blame the victim that, oh, you need our help, so you better listen to us. We're not going to go and fix the bad men.
You depend on men. Like your freedom is dependent on men. If men tomorrow decide, like the bad men decide in the government, that we're going to end women's rights and all women need to be slaves, like some kind of handmaiden tale, what can women do to prevent that? Women are at the mercy of men at all times. Like that's just a fact of reality that feminists want to deny, as if they have independence or they have any kind of power. And when women want freedom, who do they petition? Who do they ask for help or to give them these so-called freedoms? They go to men. They go to men and simps, like these are simps who are coming, soy boys, as James likes to call it, who are going to come and give women these rights and allow women to live their independent lives and allow women to be on OnlyFans. I hate those men. So you're right.
Allow women to
you're
be
right.
human beings.
You're right. Those simps are disgusting. They are destroying society, and it needs to stop. But you're still relying on simps. You're still relying on other men. So you're not free from the control and the power of men.
So this is why I tell women that you see this, if they want to, they will not fix themselves. No, they're not going to. So like they said, like Hakikachu said, so ladies, next time you're pregnant, be careful. We can also pick and choose because we've had a lot of femicides. We can also pick and choose. Like they said, we can play the same game here. If you want to play a game, that's what you keep saying, right? Like, why do you need freedom? Why do you need rights? Like, we can also play that game with you. If you want to do that, we can also eliminate, right?
You just kill your child, kill your baby, and that's your solution.
You're just gonna enslave women.
Kill your baby.
Enslave women and get them pregnant, and they're gonna abort. They're gonna abort the pregnancy. They're gonna
kill your baby.
Themselves. Then what?
I hate to do this, but we have to go to the next question. This one from Joshua Jamie says, there are far more men consuming porno than there are women making it. So who should be generalized to be looking for immediate sexual satisfaction? I think they're saying men. But what are your thoughts on this?
It should be abolished. It should be abolished, and then women should be prevented from sleeping around. Men should be prevented from sleeping around. Promiscuity should be punished with lashing. There should be severe consequences for fornication so that people channel their sexual desire in the healthy, correct, natural way, which is marriage. They get married, they have children, they have these stable, loving families that become the bedrock of a stable, healthy society. That's what we've lost because of feminists. That's what we've lost because of this crazy ideology that freedom is the ultimate value and we have to sacrifice everything at the altar of freedom. That's exactly the problem. We need to cut off people's freedom to just be promiscuous and sleep around with everyone that they want. They need to be forced to get married if they want to be sexually active so that they can form these families. And this is what every religion has called for. This is what every civilization has been built on. The reason that the world is ending and birth rates are collapsing is because of the free love movement, is because of feminism, it's because of promiscuity, it's because women are allowed to choose. Women are allowed to live like this as prostitutes. That's exactly the problem.
This one from
one thing, can I just say something to that? It's so funny because most of the countries that they are keeping the family values will have the worst human rights. Women have the worst rights in those countries. And Daniel, where he lives in a country where individual rights are there, he lives in that country because he has those individual rights. Like, it's the biggest hypocrisy that he lives in a country. You should be living in Pakistan, an Islamic country, you know, with his people. But he lives in a country where he can go outside and right away he sees a cleavage and girls in short little clothes instead of all covered up. But he doesn't want to see that. That's why he lives in the US.
You got it. This one coming in from, do appreciate yours. Shaqueen Kafir says, why and how was Muhammad born 4 years after his father's death? What do you call a child out of such circumstances? They say a pedophile and a real life, real role model. I don't understand.
He was born after his father passed away. Like, it wasn't 4 years. Like, what is that claim? This is just like some kind of retarded Christian apologetic. Like, this is it's really desperate. But he wasn't born 4 years after his father's death.
This one from Shaqueen Kafir as well says, per nature, the ratio of males and females is almost equal. How illogical of a law to allow a man to marry 4 women. If this law was from any god, females should have been 4 times the number of males.
So polygyny is, even in societies that practice polygyny, which, by the way, have been the majority of societies historically, have allowed men to have multiple wives. Not more than 10% of the men in those societies are able to have multiple wives. Why? Because women are hypergamous. They're not just going to go marry any man. And in Islam, they have a degree of choice in consultation with their wali. Their wali directs them towards a good marriage, and your wali is not going to put you into a polygynous marriage if that's not going to be the best for your interests. So even in polygynous societies, only 10% of men have multiple wives. In the West, in a liberal secular society, you have men, the top 10% of men, the Chads in society, they have many women that they're sleeping with. They have a huge black book of women that they just cycle through. And women are happy to be with the Chad. That's why you have the phenomenon of groupies. You have women throwing themselves. You have people like Malise throwing themselves at Musharraf and wanting to be a second or third wife or fourth wife to Musharraf, be a groupie to Musharraf. That is also polygyny, except it's outside of marriage. It's outside of the bonds of marriage. Islam takes that phenomenon and regulates it through marriage, as opposed to this groupie phenomenon, which results in broken homes, which results in children out of wedlock, which results in all kinds of horrors.
You got it.
I think it's just weird for you to say that. I don't think any women, and this is why women are not dating. The whole thing, yes, yeah, we were dating the 10%, but women do find out that these men are cheating around. So that's why women are not, like, it's getting lower and lower. You know, those 10% are also not getting it. Believe me, those are also getting cut down. And watch, it's going to grow, this trend that you keep saying that we're sharing. Nobody wants to share.
But you are sharing. Like, that's a fact.
No, we're not.
You
No,
yourself
as soon
wanted
as
to
I find
share.
out a man,
You yourself wanted to
as
share.
soon as I find out my man is interested in somebody else, I'm like, bye. I don't need to share.
What
Bye.
if he's Musharraf? What if he's Musharraf?
No, Musharraf, you can sit here and be stupid, like, you know, to believe something that was created by some people.
Okay, fine,
It's
not
fake
Musharraf.
news.
What if it's Imran Khan?
It was
What
just
if it's
a news
Imran
to
Khan?
make me famous.
What if it's Imran Khan, or what if it is like Brad Pitt, or you know, one of these celebrities?
So,
Would
no,
you
I'm not
be
a
willing?
homewrecker.
Would
I'm not a homewrecker like Muhammad, who wrecked
you wouldn't have a you wouldn't want to have a chance at Brad Pitt. You wouldn't want a chance at Brad Pitt or Imran Khan.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe you can convince him.
Maybe
maybe you can convince him to make you his main chick instead of a side chick.
He wants me to get married. I don't know what's wrong with Hakikachu. I think he's going to propose to me by the end of this debate. He just really wants me to get married.
No, that's really not it.
I don't want Imran Khan. I don't want Brad Pitt. I'm
okay,
good.
sure you don't.
How do you know I'm not a lesbian? Like, you keep assuming stuff about me. Well, maybe I want Megan Fox or something.
Lesbian.
You want Musharraf. You want Parvez Musharraf.
So you want Musharraf.
Don't be embarrassed, okay? Musharraf was a good-looking guy.
Wait,
okay.
Was that the Pakistan general?
And that's why I'm here, because I was famous, right?
What? Oh wait, okay. Just well, there's so much I've learned tonight. So, Malise, you were Miss Pakistan. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Let's see. This one coming in now, and then there was this Pakistan man that you coveted. It was the gentleman that Daniel showed.
He was. So this is how the news was. He was the president. He was at that time ruling Pakistan, and he was against the Baloch people. He was, and I come from that tribe. So the lady knew that, and she made this news that, oh, this Muslim, and I wasn't even Muslim at that time. This is how much they lie. This Muslim lady from Baloch loves President Musharraf. And then the news just kept going and going.
But you, pardon my interruption, but you kind of did, right? I thought you said something. You said he was a hunk or something.
No, I'm not saying those words. We used to talk over the phone. She would be on the phone with me, and it's people typing. These are all writing. People are writing. This news was all created. And that's when I was introduced to news and fake news and how you publish, like how you do all these publicity stunts. That was my
I'm just trying to give you shit. I just think it's funny.
I know it was funny too. I was like famous overnight everywhere.
Wow. Joshua Jamie says
immediately started thirsting for Parvez Musharraf.
So what? Why are you jealous? Are you jealous that I'm not thirsting for you and him? Like, come on.
Thirst.
A lot of women thirsted for him.
Jamie, so much thirst. Joshua Jamie says men bomb buildings. Men should SHOOT up schools. Men cause war. Men steal and abuse. Talk about emotional. Without men, we would be near utopia.
Yeah, sure we would. Why don't these women enlist for the military? Why don't these women enlist for these kinds of jobs that are difficult, that are physically intensive? Why don't the women go on these shipping boats in the deep sea, or go on the oil rigs in the deep sea, work these physically demanding jobs? Why don't women choose to do that? Because they prefer to sit comfortably at home, sit in a nice cushy office job with the air conditioning. That's the only job that women actually choose to do, and rely on men to do all the difficult physical labor, to protect them in wars, to men going into the military and literally dying to protect their country, the women in those countries. So this is hypocrisy from these feminists.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question.
Women, most physical thing that we do. How about men go and keep a baby in their tummy and then, have their vagina torn up and give birth? And see
that's amazing that women do that. That's amazing that they do. But that's
all this stuff that we do painful jobs. Nothing compared to it. Nothing compared. You cannot compare.
You don't even want to do that. You want to abort. You're threatening to abort children if a man doesn't do exactly what you want.
If I wanted to abort, why would I have a child?
So you've never had an abortion. You've never had an abortion.
No, that's why I have her. I had the choice.
Good on you. Good on you. But you're advocating.
But where's the man? Where is the man? Where is he? He pays $400 and that's it. Where is he? Go home.
If a man, if you feel like a man has mistreated you, you just kill a baby.
No, you need to call that man and be like, you need to be accountable. You need to call him and tell him, because you gotta be a man and hold the men accountable.
Men do hold men accountable. What are you talking about? Men do hold men accountable. That's why we have the men who are committing crimes are arrested and put in check by who? Who is controlling these men? It's other men. It's not women who are going and doing this. The women aren't going and stopping the serial killers. The women aren't going into the military to stop invading countries. Men are doing that. Men keep other men in check. What are you talking about?
The wars.
This one.
You were the one starting the wars.
Marilyn, thanks for your kind super chat. Isa Kabir says, wow, great Persian versus Pakistan. Salam and good debate. And let's see. Are you Persian, Daniel?
Oh yeah, James.
You didn't know that?
Oh, sorry. I know. I never realized I never asked what your background was.
What do you think my last name was? You thought that was a good old Western Texas last name?
I thought your real last. Oh, I thought your real last name was like Smith or something. What was it? What was it, Malise?
No, Daniel said that, polygamy was in all these religions and stuff, but we don't find any such thing in Bible or in Jews or in them. We don't find anything like that in Hinduism either. So you can't that's just Islam, polygamy coming from there.
No, it is in Judaism. In Christianity is the very rare exception. It's the exception, but in Hinduism they have it.
In Islam,
Hinduism, Judaism, in Buddhism they practice it. All of these societies, and if they don't practice it, if they don't have marriage, if we don't have the actual marriage practice, you still have polygynous relationships. That's the whole Chad phenomenon, where the high value men in Western society have side chicks.
Story,
Oh yeah, it's different. It's different.
No, that's different.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, there is different because it's not marriage, but it's still one man, multiple women.
Tied down.
One man.
You're not tied down. It's different.
Yeah, who benefits from that? The man benefits from that. The women, they just give it up and they don't get anything in return other than.
How do you know they give it up?
Do you know what a side chick is? Do you know what a side chick is? Do you know what a groupie is?
Do you know?
Yeah, I do know.
You had side chicks?
I do. The reason why the man has a side chick is to get pleasure from her. Get pleasure from her.
The next one, second, Chayton says, hey, Daniel, not all of us men agree. Not all of us would support it. Women should become independent. Not this authoritarian style. Heck no, never.
You're a soy boy. What can I say? You're a soy boy and a simp. And you're going to suffer. Like, you're going to suffer when you're trying to get married. You can't find a wife. You can't find a romantic partner, companionship from the opposite sex. Why? Because you've empowered women. You are bowing and worshiping at the golden calf of women's empowerment, women's free choice. So you're a simp. You don't even realize how much that harms you as a man. It harms your children. It harms all of society. So that's very unfortunate that we have these soy boys who can't see the bigger picture. Wake up.
How dare you don't believe an 11-year-old can get married to a 50-year-old man. Don't you understand? Daniel, that's what he's trying to say. You're going to be a simp. You need to look for a young woman. I need to start doing that. So I think maybe I should take your advice.
How old was Musharraf when you were thirsting for Musharraf? Wasn't he in his 60s? You were 30 years, 40 years younger than Musharraf, but you're thirsting for an older man.
I could have had him. I could have had him at that time. I could have had him. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 20-year-old. Were you like 18 years old and he was in his 60s?
Oh, thank you. No. I was actually 27 at that time. But
no. I think you were 18 years old. You were thirsting for a 60-year-old man. You were thirsting for a 60-year-old man.
You would be surprised if I gave you some other
It's okay if you do it. It's okay if Musharraf does it. If a 65-year-old Musharraf goes with it. Here, I got it on my stream.
Legal. At least none of her was like 6-year-old, right?
It's okay. It's okay if I'm 18 or 17 years old, 16 years old, and I'm dating Musharraf, but he's 65. So 40 years.
All right, enough about
40 years. 40-year difference. 40-year difference.
Thank you. You were
40-year difference.
10 years younger, but
I hate to do this. All right. I hate to mute everybody. I just muted everybody. Next question. Light of the Twin Lamp says, Daniel, Israel is going to single-handedly end Islam in the world. You will go the way of the dodo, and the Hebrews will be a light upon the nations. Wow, this is a dark comment. Go ahead, Daniel, if you want to respond. Oh, you're on mute, Daniel. I just clicked. I put asked to unmute. So you should see if you look at the Zoom window, you should see a window pop up, Daniel.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so if I tell you what I really feel about Israel, this whole stream is going to get banned. It's going to be taken off of YouTube. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Israel. We'll see if they can survive without Daddy America, United States, coming and saving them. Because if the United States wasn't funding that disgusting genocidal country in the Middle East, it would have been a crater 50, 60, 75 years ago. That's what the Hebrews, as you call them, that's what they would face.
I never should have read the question. Okay. That's the one topic that gets me nervous out of all the stuff we talked about tonight.
Why is that? Why is that the only topic that we can't talk candidly about? He can, in his super chat, talk about Muslims being wiped out and being extinguished from the face of the earth. He can say that. It's not risky then to talk about Muslims going the way of the dodo. But if I say that that country would have been made a crater 75 years ago, that terrorist state, oh, now it's nervous. Now we're afraid. That tells you a lot, right? About who controls censorship.
This one coming in from, I feel like I can say almost anything. We can say cracker again, which we're bringing back, folks. We're gonna make it.
Why can we insult white people? Why can we have slurs against white people, but we can't say slurs against Jewish people? Why the double standard?
If any of you,
we can say slurs against Muslims. We can say slurs against Muslims, against Arabs, against Desis, Indians. All of those slurs are about black people. We can joke about black people. We just can't joke about one specific group. Why is that? How is that fair?
We're gonna go to the next one.
This is from X. What are you talking about? I see it all the time.
Samson
Where is it hidden? Everywhere. Facebook, everywhere now I see against Jews. What are you talking about? Like, seriously, my account got suspended for talking about Islam.
Can't say the J word.
We can't say it. We can't say it. Listen to the moderator.
I'm so sorry. It's not my preference. It's that YouTube has certain preferences. This one coming in from Samson says, she said they started it legalized soft porn. I'm just asked you to unmute Malise. What is he talking about? I can't remember what this is about. Oh, he's saying because you said that men started
sexualizing women. Yeah. Men started sexualizing, yeah. No, I don't understand this question.
I think he's saying that men only legalized soft porn. Wait, what is this? I think he's drunk. This one from the second Shashin says, what is wrong with being a feminist? Are you afraid? Oh, Daniel, I think they're on to you. Are you afraid of feminists?
Yeah, I am afraid of feminism. Feminism is going to lead to the extinction of the human race. Yeah, I'm very afraid. Just like people in European countries where the birth rate has collapsed are afraid that people are going to go extinct. Just like the Japanese are afraid that they're going to go extinct. The Chinese government now is putting anti-feminism measures in place because their birth rate is collapsing. Yeah, people are very afraid of feminism because it's going to lead to the destruction of the human race.
It's control. When the oppressor sees losing control, he just gets nervous and they're gonna thump their thing and stuff. No.
This one from the second Shashin says, what about those women who work in steel factories and many other women? Women have always handled themselves. You talk like you know women, but you don't.
Though, like 2 women in the whole world that working in steel factories, it's like 99% men dominated. So I don't know what you're talking about. I do know women. Even if I didn't know anything about women and I just judged women by this debate and the representative here of women, I would be fully in support of male guardianship. Do not give women control of anything. Thankfully, not all women are like Malise. Thankfully, not all women want to put their daughters in OnlyFans and kill their babies. Like, thankfully, not all women are like Malise. But if I was just judging,
I don't want to get my 6-year-old daughter married to a 50-year-old man.
You wanted to marry Musharraf, a 40-year-old difference, age difference. You wanted to, yeah, you just wanted to sleep with him. You just wanted to sleep with him.
All
A
right,
40-year-old difference. Look at this stud.
I was still legal age.
Look at this stud, this hunk.
I was illegal. I was of
Look
the
at
legal
this hunk.
age. Explain to me 6-year-old and
Look at this
51-year-old.
hunk. Look at this hunk.
6-year-old and a 51-year-old.
Pervez, oh Pervez, look at me, Pervez. I'm available, Pervez.
No
I'm
more
available.
Finding a 6-year-old
go.
sexually attractive.
Leave your wife. Leave your wife,
That as a
Pervez.
role model. Imagine that.
All right, we have to go to the next one. The second station says you, Daniel, need to learn about women over history. You're still muted, Daniel. I had to mute you guys because you kept talking about that hunk.
It's not history. It's her story, you misogynist bigot. Her story.
This one coming in from Joshua Jamie says, a guarded woman can change the household. An independent woman can change the world. Is this guy trolling? I can't tell if he's... I'm sorry. I just don't know if this is...
Yeah, I'm women are changing the world. Look at Malise. Look at her, how she's changed the world.
I tell people, I tell
posting,
do not
by getting on OnlyFans. It's like changing the world.
Not to marry
women,
6-year-olds. It's wrong.
Women can do.
Child.
Women can do.
Changing.
Listen.
Daniel doesn't want to change. He says no. No. We want 6-year-olds.
Listen.
That's what he wants.
Stop thirsting for Musharraf and listen for a second.
I was of a legal age. Muhammad was thirsting for an underage.
Stop thirsting for that hunk.
Stop the name Musharraf. Okay.
Pervez, okay? She was thirsting for Pervez.
Thirsting for a 6-year-old.
Listen. Pervez, listen. Look, women achieved freedom. Okay, they achieved independence.
6-year-old.
Come on, James.
Over a 6-year-old. How do you find a 6-year-old?
Let me finish a sentence.
That's gross.
Let me.
Gross.
How did you find a 65-year-old man attractive?
Gross.
How did you find a 65? How did you find it? It was a 40-year-old age gap. 40-year-old age gap.
Profit.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to mute you guys. No more. The name Malise or whatever his name is. He's banned. We can't say his name again. We have to go to the next question. This one from FBI Most Wanted says brain dead Muhammad got had forcible coitus forced upon him by the men of Al-Zut. My guess is, Daniel, you'd say this is historically inaccurate. I'll give you a chance to respond.
I've never heard of this. I've never even heard of it. They just have to make stuff up because that's the thing about these people. Like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he's living in your head rent free. You can't think about anything else without the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because he's such a strong figure historically. It's undeniable that he has been the most successful historical figure, the greatest man who ever lived. So all you can do is spread lies. All you can do is cry and whine about, oh, Muhammad this, Muhammad that, because you can't deny his success. So just burn in your rage. Burn in your rage, die in your rage. You hate Muhammad because you can't be his follower. Just submit, just become a Muslim, and then you can love the Prophet, peace be upon him. Then your obsession is going to be over. Then your obsession, because you're going to be a Muslim and you can actually appreciate the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But since you refuse to do that, just die in your rage, seethe, cope. That's all you can do.
This is coming from a man that lives in a non-Muslim country and talks all about this stuff. The biggest hypocrisy. This guy won't even live in his own country because he doesn't even believe anything that is coming out of his own mouth. Prophet Muhammad is famous because of his doings. People are shocked. How can a person with a brain follow and take somebody like that as a role model? Who married a 6-year-old? Imagine finding a 6-year-old child sexually attractive, and that wasn't enough. Then he went and took on sex slaves. And then when he got caught by his wives screwing another slave, like there's so many things. And then he flew to the...
Stay on topic?
I know, but I'm talking about the Guardian. This is the Guardian.
If she wants to talk, she wants to go off and talk about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I'll talk about
and then
Musharraf.
God
I'll talk
gave
about
him
this
No, no, no,
this dirty
Musharraf.
prostitute.
and he had the
Okay,
power of 50
this
men
dirty
to
prostitute.
sleep
She
with 50
sells her
women.
body
Okay,
on
I hate to
OnlyFans.
do
This
this.
disgusting
Let's go to the
prostitute.
next question.
OnlyFans,
Okay.
OnlyFans, OnlyFans.
Okay, no more about OnlyFans or Musharraf or Penny Thirsting. We have to go to the next one. I hate to do this.
Yeah, I learned all this from Islam.
We're
This
going to go this one.
prostitution and
This is
stuff.
from Joshua Jamie. He says women have a higher pain tolerance and better they're better at multitasking. Daniel.
So what? Like, even if it's the true that women have more pain tolerance than men, which is not, by the way, if that were the case, why can't women? Why do women need men to protect them? Why do women have fantasies of the big, strong man that comes and dominates them? Why do women? Why is the best-selling book, New York Times bestseller for years on end, 50 Shades of Grey, a book about a rich man who sexually dominates a woman? Why is that the fantasy of every single woman, to be dominated by a strong man? It's because that's what they're attracted to. That's called hypergamy. So this is the reality of women. That's why women secretly, they actually crave to be dominated. That's why Malise, she goes to bed every night alone, and she doesn't have any man to be there next to her. She has to die as an old cat lady.
How
So
do you know?
pathetic.
How do you know?
So
Are you
pathetic.
watching me? Are you Allah that you watch me that I'm not going to bed with any man?
This prostitute, no man will ever love her. No man will ever get with her. She's gonna die alone.
Like your prophet.
Get a cat and die alone. Get a cat and die alone. You old shriveled up shrew. You old shriveled up rat. You're gonna die alone. You're gonna die alone.
I learned it from Islam, from Prophet Muhammad.
Come on.
I was
must
Muslim.
go to the next
I learned
question.
all this from there.
This is
Come on.
we have Mesa Kamir says, Malise, why are you comparing the whole Pakistani nation with your criminal family?
Yeah, good question.
No, I'm
just because your dad was a deadbeat. Just because your dad was a deadbeat. You didn't have a dad.
I'm comparing them to Islam. It was asked to me, Daniel.
Deadbeat dad.
My name is Malise.
My
name is Malise. Can I answer?
Not everyone is a deadbeat like your dad.
Gender?
We have to go.
Not everyone's a deadbeat like your dad.
Okay.
Did you change your gender?
A chance to respond. So go ahead.
I think he changed.
Malise.
No, that's the reality of most of the men in Pakistan. Okay, don't just come up here and tell me. And I read you Surah Nisa that ayat 434. It says that you can hit your wife in Islam. All these men that follow Islam, majority of them will hit their wife because they're allowed to. He probably beats his wife too. Ask him. He's a wife beater. He's a pedophile supporter, and then he's gonna sit here and call me prostitute, which I learned from his religion. From Islam.
Islam doesn't teach you to be on OnlyFans.
Sex everywhere. Even after death is sex and virgins.
Can I respond?
We're gonna go so far with this.
Islam doesn't teach you to be a prostitute. I don't know where she's getting that from. If you had a
Islam
dad,
makes you a prostitute.
if you had a dad who actually cared about you, he could have raised you right so that you wouldn't end up on OnlyFans.
We're going to go to this one. Steve's Creepy Van says the decision-making study published by the NHI concluded men make quicker, riskier decisions for quick rewards. Women found to be less motivated by rewards under stress. It has nothing to do with making the right decisions, though, Daniel.
Yes, it does. The study that I showed you on the screen is specifically about winning a game, about getting returns. So there's a monetary reward if you make the right decision. And in the long term, men are going to make better decisions, whereas women are discouraged by negative effects. So if they don't win on one turn, then they're less willing to make the right, statistically correct decision on their next turn because they're affected by the negative emotion of losing, whereas men are able to put the loss aside and make the next decision on the basis of what is statistically correct. That's why in the long term, under stressful conditions, they outperform women by a large margin. So go back to the study that I referenced in the presentation and read it, and you'll see that men in stressful situations are better at long-term decision making.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question. Samson says, Prophet Muhammad also was married to multiple Christian and Jews, yet how come none of you bring that up? I don't know.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
a good
married to
point.
so many women. He was
That's a
married
good
to
point.
so many. Not even married. He just had sex slaves. He was just having, according to him, he was having sex with everybody, but apparently no kids. So
I
it's a
wanted to address
mystery.
something that she said before about the verse in the Quran that is about striking the wife. So, verse 434. The thing is that we accept guardianship and authority of the guardian. She accepts it in the case of a president. She accepts it in the case of a
Oh,
CEO. She accepts it in the case of parents. All of those authorities have the right to coerce their dependents to obey the rules and to obey the plan. She
Mhm.
accepts that for all of those guardians,
So
but
do
she
you?
just has a problem because, again, every social institution
you?
has to have hierarchy. Yeah, I know. Of course, it's not inconsistent for
Yeah, you're
me.
following their hierarchy
not-
too, but again, you're repeating the same
It's
thing
not
again and again. I
inconsistent.
already
It's
answered
not.
this.
You didn't
You're
answer. Let me-
comparing apples and oranges. You
Can I
can't compare
finish,
a
James?
system, a president, to a relationship
We-
and a guardian at
Can I
home. You
finish?
can't.
Can I finish?
I'll give you a chance to wrap up your point, and then we got to go to the next question.
Yeah, let me wrap up the point. So every social grouping has hierarchy, and you can't have a social grouping without hierarchy and without dominance of a guardian at the top of it. So you accept a guardian and hierarchy for all of these institutions. If you take away the right of the guardian to coerce and to use force, then the hierarchy is destroyed, and then the social grouping is destroyed. So when you don't have the right of a man to discipline his wife and his dependents and his children, then that hierarchy will dissolve. It will be destroyed. You have to have you have to have a guardian who can coerce, who can use force, if need be. He doesn't usually need to use force, but he has the option. That is 100%.
US, you're going to be in jail.
Yeah, unfortunately, the law is wrong. The law here is a feminist law. That's why family
violence law is wrong.
That's why families are collapsing.
Did you just hear him?
Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me absolutely right.
We must go to the next question. Joshua.
He wants to beat women. He's a woman beater too. He's a pedophile supporter. He's a women beater. Oh my God.
Joshua,
you're a prostitute, and you're a prostitute.
Oh God,
right.
you got to prove that I'm a prostitute.
You're a cat. You're a cat lady.
I'm sorry, Daniel. I can actually
prostitute and a cat lady.
Saying that again and again. No, this is something serious. You're gonna have to prove that I'm a prostitute.
Is it bad to be a prostitute? Is it bad to be a prostitute?
Okay, I hate to do this. I have to go to the next question. This one from Joshua Jamie says,
no, but this is serious. You can't sit here and call me a prostitute because I will fucking send a suit to you if you call me a prostitute one more time. Otherwise, you better prove it. Because on OnlyFans, all I do is show
prostitute. You're a prostitute. What's wrong with being? You're a sex worker. You're a sex worker. You're a sex worker. You're a sex worker.
Women like prostitutes.
You wanted
to. This is turning into Jerry Springer. Joshua Jamie says 36,000 women work in iron and steel mills in the U.S., Daniel. I'll give you a chance to respond.
What's the percentage? The percentage is not even 2, 3, 4%. Over 90% of steel workers are men. How are you denying this?
This one from Divids says, she is way out of your league, Daniel. This one from...
Yeah, I'm happily married. Let me respond to this insult, okay? I'm happily married. My wife wasn't a prostitute. My wife wasn't selling her body. My wife is an actual queen.
Was she 6 years old? Was she 6? Was she legal age when you married her?
Listen, prostitute. My wife is not a sex worker. She's happily married. You have no one.
Turn her into a sex worker if
you have no one. You have no one. You're alone.
You probably turn her into a sex worker.
You cry yourself with your cat to sleep at night with your cats.
One, we're going to go to the next question, which is Sim says, Daniel, if men can get Horus, what about women? They pronounce it H-O-U-R-I-S.
Whores, the virgins. They are talking about virgins. They're so obsessed with sex that Daniel's gonna get 72 virgins in heaven. What is his wife gonna get, Daniel? She is going to be the pimp.
Gets me.
She's gonna decide who Daniel goes with which night. That's what Daniel's wife gets.
She gets me. That's what she gets.
And he's talking about prostitution? Like, come on, with what face? He's gonna get 72 whores, and his wife is gonna be like, Daniel, honey, tonight you're sleeping with this one. Tomorrow you're gonna be sleeping with this one. The third day you're gonna be back doing this one. That's exactly.
This is one.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
From Milton
Sounds good.
This one from DeFreak says, Mod, At Labib Abdullah hid me on Daniel's channel for no reason. He claims because I used the Sahih International Translation to make an argument. Coward unsubbed. Okay. This is weird. Samson says, Malise, how do you feel about Hugh Hefner, the guy who like started Playboy and then died recently?
How do I feel about him? Of course, he started something. I'm not for it, obviously, but I'm pretty sure exploited a lot of women at that time. But
Why? Those women chose to be prostitutes.
How do you know they chose? Were you there checking their consent? Were
they
you there
chose
checking their consent? So then
Yeah,
don't talk.
they have
You
the
were
freedom.
not there checking their consent.
They have the freedom.
You were
They
not
have the
there
freedom
checking
to
their
choose.
consent. You were not. There's a case right now going about P. Diddy and consent. This is what these men don't understand: consent and coercion and forcing women to do this. Because obviously Muhammad was forcing women to do stuff too. He would say it was consensual.
You wish
Daniel
that P. Diddy could have had you.
Aisha slept with Muhammad at 9.
You wish that P. Diddy. You wish that P. Diddy could have been with you.
I'm talking about Muhammad. I'm not concerned about P. Diddy, but I'm just giving you an example that I'm sure Aisha wasn't like, yeah, I'm 9 years old. I'm ready to sleep with a 51-year-old man. That was nothing consensual.
You wish that P. Diddy would have had you as his side chick. You wish.
Oh, you like black guys? No, you're into black guys. Are you jealous of them?
Daniel loves black men. Okay, this one from Samson.
He has complexity issues.
We have to go to the next one. Daniel does not really find black men attractive. That was a joke. This one.
They're all jealous of black men.
Okay, this is weird. Antonio says, W Daniel, and I'm a Christian. And then Joshua Jamie says, the percentage is 12% of steelworkers are women. So wrong again, Danny boy.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, 88%. That was way off from my 90%. Wow.
Then let's see. Samson, let's see. This one, Milton says, why was Muhammad why did he have forced coitus thrusts like put on him by a gang of jinn? Is this
again just
true?
Making stuff up? No, this is maybe someone's dream. Maybe
come on, Daniel. He did take some.
I mean, that's your fantasy. Like your fantasy is to be raped.
Well, let's not.
It's disgusting.
Let me not even start with the fantasies in Islam.
That's so sick. Okay, that's what you do.
Steve's creepy van says, quote, in men, psychological stress led to more high-risk, disadvantageous choices. In women, increased stress led to more low-risk, advantageous choices, unquote. And then they said, directly from the study that you brought up, Daniel.
Look at the chart. Look at figure 3 in the chart. Figure 3 in the chart summarizes. I can even bring it up right now. That women made slower choices, and in the long term, they had less gain over the period of that test. So again, that's why that study and many other studies show that women are less capable of that kind of decision making in high stress scenarios. This is also why when we have how many videos now in the age of the internet of female police officers accidentally shooting people, shooting themselves, getting beat up by criminals, freaking out in high stress situations. That's why we hear about this recent accident where a female helicopter pilot slammed into an airliner and killed 100 people. These kinds of decision making of women leads to the loss of life. It's a very serious problem. Gender equality in terms of the police force, firefighters, the military has been a disaster. And that's why you see Republicans, finally made a good decision, rolling back these initiatives, rolling back DEI, rolling back gender affirmative action, where women are put into these spots on the basis that they're somehow equal to men when they're not. Women are not equal to men when it comes to those high risk life and death situations in the police and the military, as pilots and so forth. This is a disaster. That's why it's all being rolled back.
Can I just address that? So my question is that women only started flying now, right? Before, when it was only men flying, were there never, not even one plane crash?
What do
I'm
you
sure
mean
there
women
was,
are
right?
starting now?
I'm not done. I'm not done. The fact that you guys just come up with like, oh, women can't do this. Actually, women like take calculated risks, right? When we drive, we cause less accidents. We don't die. You guys die dumb because you take a lot of stupid risks. Men die young because they're taking stupid risks. They speed, their insurance is higher, car insurances are higher. We are more smarter. We take calculated risks. That's what you're not understanding here. No. You guys are the dumb ones that go do dumb things and then die young and early.
You need men who have risk-taking behavior to be in
Not
those
stupid
roles
risks.
of the military, to be in the role of police officers, firefighters, to be in the roles of leaders, because the leaders, for example, the leader of an army, the leader of a university, the leader of any kind of institution, you have to take risks in order to win in the long term. That's the whole point. Women don't take risks, and they are discouraged by any bad result.
We take the biggest risk that we take. The biggest risk that we take is give birth.
Yeah, we heard that. We heard that retarded line 10 times.
Die while giving birth. That's the biggest risk.
We heard that line 10 times.
We literally can die. We can die giving birth.
Listen, lady, just because you give birth doesn't mean you're capable of everything.
We can die.
Listen, cat lady. Listen, cat lady.
Your mother took a huge risk.
We can give birth. We can give birth. Therefore, we should be in the military. We should leading militaries. We should be leading countries. We should be leading universities because we gave birth. Like, that's the only thing that you could say.
Fights anyways. We didn't start the fights. Go fight your own fights. Why are you starting in fights anyways?
Oh my God, your voice.
We've actually run out of questions. So we've actually run out of questions. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things. First, folks, pinned at the top of the live chat, you can find announcements for when Modern Day Debate will be hosting a DebateCon event in your city. That Facebook link for Modern Day Debate, where we do upload our announcements, is pinned at the top of the live chat. It's also in the description box. Click and follow the Modern Day Debate Facebook page for updates on debates coming to your city. With that, we are going to wrap up. I want to say a huge thank you to our guests, as that was an interesting Q&A, to say the least. And we want to remind you folks, our guests are linked in the description box. Even if you vehemently disagree with them, there is value to hearing their side of a position straight from them. So rather than, just let's say your side says like, oh, well, they say this, there's a lot of value of hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. So you can actually go and critique their views, even if you disagree with them. You can find their links below. But with that, we are going to wrap up. One last thing.
Can I say one more thing? Or can I show my screen one more time?
It's not about that. It's not about that man, is it? It is.
No, it's not about. No. I won't. It won't be any personal thing against her.
Okay.
Oh, come on. How will you complete your point then?
Okay, here's the because she kept bringing up one verse, so I just want to address that one verse. So she mentioned 434 in the Quran regarding striking the men being in charge of women. And in this, you can see that everyone agrees with beating women. Everyone. So if you violate the law, there are consequences. Unless you think that women should be have immunity from any kind of punishment, you believe in women being punished for violating the law. And sometimes that requires force. Sometimes that requires violence. So every society agrees with beating women in some form or fashion. The difference is traditional societies versus secular societies. In traditional societies, if a woman violates the norms of society, then the state or her father or her husband are responsible for coercing her to act appropriately, whether it's females or males. If there's norms of the family, if she violates the norms of the family, then the father or the husband has coercive power. In secular society, who beats the women? It's the state. You violate the norms of the state will beat the women. If you violate the norms of the corporation or a school, you will be coerced to follow the norms of that institution. Otherwise, you're going to be kicked out of that institution. And if you violate the norms of the family, then there's no punishment for that in secular societies. And that's why families are collapsing. And every false framing that she and other feminists want to give is that Islamic wife beating versus secular non-beating. This is a false framing. In reality, it's beating to preserve the family versus beating to preserve the state or corporation. So everyone agrees with beating women. It just, the difference is who is entitled or who has the right to beat women. And that's the real difference. Every hierarchy needs coercion or coercive option. So state, military, corporation, schools, they all have coercive options. Without a coercive option, you can't have hierarchy. Without the coercive option, the hierarchy collapses. And if the hierarchy collapses, that's the institution will collapse. This is why liberals and feminists insist on taking away the coercive option from husbands so that family hierarchy collapses, resulting in collapse of the family because they don't value the family.
This is like another, okay, we must go to the last question. This one just came in as you were summarizing, Daniel. Famo says, to the OnlyFans merchandise, you cite Surah Nisa Ayah 34, yet in your feminist utopia, the USA, a woman is beaten every 9 seconds. Look it up. That is your freedom? Question mark.
So at least in the US, we can see how many women are getting beaten up. Yes, women do get beaten up by men. That's why we say that we're still not safe. Men are still very dangerous. Whereas if you were to go to Pakistan, where most of these crimes are not even calculated, because I think Western countries are still safer for women, whereas these Muslim countries, right? Because you can't even go and complain. Just recently, a TikTok where 17-year-old was murdered in Pakistan. Why? Because the guy, she refused him. She didn't want to marry him, and then everybody was celebrating. Oh, what a great job he's done. At the end, I just want to say to everybody that, yes, please go join my OnlyFans that I teach you Islam with haram. And at the end, only thing I'm going to say that I hope from everyone after this, he did the mic drop for me. He did the job for me. Daniel Akikachu said that he believes in beating women. And he said, all you, including you, James, you all state and everybody's beating women and they believe in beating women. He also said that an 11-year-old, as long as she's married to a 51-year-old, he's okay with that as well. So just keep in mind what he's okay with. And this is why, this is Hakikachu Daniel is the reason feminism was born. Okay, where they want to beat women, where they want to force themselves, where they want to have forced sex, they want to do halala, they want to take all the freedom away from women and treat them like animals. This is what gave rise to feminism. And again, anytime I talk to Muslims, they cannot go to like the logical argument. They always have to call you names. And I will be, unless you can prove that I'm a prostitute, because I can prove that you're a pedophile and a wife beater.
She's the only prostitute who's ashamed to be a prostitute.
So you are going
she's
to
the only
hear it from my lawyer.
Why are you ashamed of sex work?
About that.
Why are you ashamed of sex work? I thought sex work is a good thing.
No one can
I thought
be a
sex
bigger
work is a
pimp
good
than
thing.
Muhammad. Muhammad was the biggest pimp
She's
in the world.
She's the only prostitute who's ashamed of being a prostitute.
This one from the second
self-reporting there.
The second Shaitan. All right. The second Shaitan says, discussing Daniel. I think they meant disgusting. I don't know. They say discussing Daniel. Shame on you. No abuse. Shame.
Cope and seethe. Cope and seethe.
This one from Famo says, oh, this is Famo says another question to the OnlyFans merch. Oh, I think they're saying that like as an insult, as like they're saying like you're the merchandise. Okay.
Who's the merchandise? Guys, I teach you how to put in the mods. I don't know why. I think they're taking it like lightly. I literally
for $5. For $5,
Daniel's gonna go and join my OnlyFans right away. Daniel,
you can see all the abuse that she took from her dad.
I'll give you a discount.
For $5, you can see all the abuse from her dad.
To the OF merch, if modesty is
you wish you could see anything, Daniel. You can't even see my shit in the toilet. Okay? You can't even see that. You can't even see my shit in the toilet. Come on.
For $5, you can see years of trauma, a desperate cry for help. Desperate cry for help.
They say
if modesty,
they say
I'm sorry, you can't. I know.
But
I know I'm too old for you. You're into 6-year-olds. I get it, Daniel. I know I'm too old for you. You like the 6-year-olds. I know.
If If modesty is oppression, how is spending hours painting your face for strangers called freedom?
I want to paint my own face. Why? Why do you have a problem
$5
with me
clown.
painting my face? You don't have to
$5
look
clown.
at it. Listen, did I ask these strangers to come and look at me? No, they chose to come and look at me. Why are you looking at me? I can put clown face and sit here. You also have the choice. Why don't you choose to leave? Why is it always my
10 pounds of makeup is not
This
going to
one
hide the
from
wrinkles.
Famo says, if you're so independent, why is your power still
And
based
having
on...
so many wives didn't hide the fact that Muhammad was incompetent with a 2-inch penis.
How many
Must go
pounds of
forward.
makeup do you have to slather
Must go
on to cover
forward.
that
I don't
face?
know how many times Allah
It won't-
has to
it won't-
set that dish
It
for Muhammad to
won't.
get
It
his
won't
hit
make
up.
you.
How
This
It
many
won't
times?
make any man
Hate to
propose
do
to you.
this, so
It
we're gonna
won't.
go to the next one. Okay, I had to interrupt. Famo says, Malise, if you're so independent, why is your power still based on male attention? I just asked you to unmute.
Says who? Says who?
I think they assume most of your OnlyFans
Again,
followers are men.
assumptions, right? Muhammad flew on a Burak. Oh, God did this. They're all stories created
All
in their mind.
assumptions.
And then they're here talking about they're the ones with smarter.
She's the only
species.
prostitute who's
Oh
ashamed of
my
being a prostitute.
God. The
Jojo-
only pimp that I know is Muhammad.
That's so sad.
He
That's so
prostituted the
sad.
most women
You are
in
so
the
This
planet,
one.
including
This
a 6-year-old.
We all jump to the end of this debate. So, folks, you can find our guest linked in the description box. And it's been an interesting debate tonight. I'm trying to think of any last housekeeping things. Oh, wait, hold on. No, wait, folks, for real. This is one I actually forgot. This is a total new housekeeping thing, and it's not a modern day debate thing. It's actually, so someone emailed me. They said, hey, there's this app called Be My Eyes. So what it is blind folks, they sign up for the app, and basically you can sign up for the app as well. If they need help, like let's say they're like, hey, I'm trying to decide between, I've got a red shirt to wear and I've got a green shirt to wear. Which one of these am I holding? That's the green shirt. I want to wear the green shirt. Which one is it that of these two I'm holding? So it's like a video chat where basically you can be like, oh, well, the green shirt is the one that you're holding higher, whatever hand that is. And they'll be like, oh, thank you. It's amazing. So folks, if you want to do a good deed, Be My Eyes is linked in the description box. I've done it myself. So I signed up for the app. Just yesterday, I got my first call. It was a lady at the airport. She was like, hey, I'm trying to see which gate number. I can't see. Can you tell me what gate number it is? And I'm like, that's number 11. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. So it's a really cool way you can help out in your community. You could say your global community. So check out Be My Eyes. That's linked in the description box. And folks, I want to say a huge thank you to Daniel and Malise. I know that tonight was fire. I have to give you guys credit. You guys are both good sports because you guys both took a lot of abuse from each other tonight. So you guys did a great job.
She's used to it from her dad.
He didn't take any abuse. His prophet did. I didn't do insult to him. I don't do private insults because I have points. They do private insults because they got no points. Always the
All
same
the
thing.
abuse that she took from
this
her
and that.
dad, like that's so sad.
Muslim brain doesn't function outside
Her
of
dad
sex
abused
and
her, and then
vagina.
she became an OnlyFans sex worker.
Ever.
All right,
It's
we'll
always
wrap up
in the
Yeah,
middle.
it's a story
Anyways,
of it's a
Okay, so sorry to mute you guys. Folks, I'll be back in just a moment with quick updates. Stick around.
Yeah, I
Check
gotta
out
go.
our guest link.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I'm that guy. Get out of here. We're dancing in the street. There's nothing left to eat.
yeah. It's almost it's midnight right now.
Going out in style.
Yeah, thanks a lot, James, for moderating it. Definitely put some. These really got some value. Thank you.
I hear you. I'm not dead yet. Get out
Well, that was a juicy debate to say the least. Want to say thank you guys for your support of Modern Day Debate. That was one of the more brutal, like, wow. Once in a while, it's like 0.01% of the debates where I'm like, ooh, like that's so mean. Like, but we do want to say, on Modern Day Debate, like we're really big on just like letting people say what they want. So, ooh, excuse me. So we do pretty much let people say almost whatever they want, as long as it's within YouTube terms of service, which tonight was like barely within terms of service. But I do want to say yes. We want to say it is true. Modern Day Debate, sometimes it does look like it goes off the rails. Ironically, it's all part of the plan. We are just making sure we do have rails. They're the YouTube terms of service rails. So I want to say thank you guys for your support. I see you there in the old chat. Akil, Arisha, Daughter, Galatians 169, ZH Kane, Toasty Toast, Jane, Adam Sick, William Graves, Sam Upon a Star, Nah, Joshua Jamie, Shell Shock, and Jang La, Isa Ahmed. Wow. But thank you guys for all of your support. Seriously, you make this fun. I do appreciate it. Hit like on the way out if you haven't already. We will have another debate, maybe even as soon as tomorrow. If people are interested in the debate topic, should the U.S. back Israel in its current new war with Iran, then reach out at moderndaydebate@gmail.com. We might host that topic. We're like we're open to it. So yeah, want to say thank you though. We'll have a debate this Saturday actually. So we're going to have one on atheism versus Christianity, which has the evidence. That's this Saturday between Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, and Apollos, and then we're going to have another debate next Saturday. So in the summer, we usually slow a bit down, mostly because I'll be planning for DebateCon this fall, and we're trying to like really go big this fall, like really big. So that means a lot of time is going to be put into it 5 or so months in advance, unlike usual, because like sometimes we just do it with like a month and a half notice. But now we're saying, hey, like let's take this seriously and do it really, really, really well. So we will have probably one debate per week at Modern Day Debate. That's normal. We will still be as active as ever. It's just that a lot of the Modern Day Debate activity over the summer is going to be behind the scenes. And that's just because people are traveling a lot over the summer. So we have less debates during the summer and more planning for our fall conference and then our early spring conference, even. So thank you guys for your support. Love you. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable. We will see you at the next debate. Thanks for all your support and take care.